religion, fuck religion, fuck religion, fuck religion, fuck religion, fuck religion, fuck religion.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever, whenever in the world you are. What's happening, Lemon Pie? Good to see you. Oh, it's been a trying couple of days. I'm gonna wait a minute to make sure I don't have any interruptions. Kind of like this one. And then I'll be doing some reading. It's peaceful Thursday morning. I hope you all are doing well. It's a very early morning here for me. 12:19 a.m. on April 18th, 2024. Yeah, that last interview we reviewed took place about 4 years ago now. It's exciting coming upon the anniversary for the channel here. Yeah, it feels like some kind of celebration is in order. Yeah, the 18th. I think that's what I said. I hope that's what I said. The 18th of April. That's what I just wrote down. Yeah, no, it was 12:19 in the morning. It was now 12:20. My time. That is West Coast time, all the way over here on the edge. Yeah, I was over on Pixie's channel earlier, and she was reviewing her calendar. I was talking about tomorrow's schedule. And she was talking about the 19th, and then I remembered that it was like at least 2 hours later over there, so then technically it was already the 18th for them. But no, I'm just beyond the precipice. My third energy drink of the night. Now I'm just having water. Yeah, I'm not sure the actual date there. I think it's in August. Will be the anniversary. So maybe it was 3 years ago. My math is bad, but it's somewhere in the range. So it would have been 4 years ago, August 4 years ago, started the channel. So the last interview would have been from like 3.5 years ago. Okay, looks like they moved that truck. Parking. Just read a little bit from my book here. Wise action is also based on the intention to do no harm and to foster compassion, loving kindness, generosity, and forgiveness. We try to do what's skillful and avoid actions that are unskillful. Wise action asks that we try to make choices based on understanding and not unthinking habits or ignorance. The Buddha suggested that we make a commitment to avoid 5 specific actions that cause harm. A commitment which is known as the 5 precepts. We commit to the 5 precepts as our basic ethical system. 1. We set the intention to avoid taking the life of another living being, or from causing harm to ourselves or another living being. 2. We set the intention to avoid causing harm through our sexual conduct, and to be aware of the consequences and impact of our sexual activity and desire. Oh, sorry, that was 3, I skipped one. 2, we set the intention to avoid taking what is not freely given or stealing. 3 was avoid causing harm through our sexual conduct. 4, we set the intention of being honest, of not lying, and of not using speech in a harmful way. 5, we set the intention to avoid the use of intoxicants and intoxicating behavior that cloud our awareness. We need to continually reflect on and question the intentions behind our actions. We may have moments of clarity, but these can quickly pass when old habits or thoughts resurface. We commit to constantly reminding ourselves of our intention to wise action, to act in ways that are non-harming. Wise livelihood. The final factor in the ethical group is wise livelihood, which focuses on how we support ourselves in the world. Again, the intent is to avoid causing harm. For most of us, our work occupies so much of our time and attention, so how we choose to make a living takes on special importance. Understanding the principle of karma and knowing that unethical activity gives rise to harmful karma, whatever choices or circumstances lead us to a particular job need to be recognized as having karmic consequences. We try to avoid jobs that give rise to suffering and seek work that does no harm or reduces suffering. The Buddha mentions 5 kinds of livelihood to avoid: trading in weapons or instruments of killing, trafficking in or selling human beings, killing of other beings, making or selling addictive drugs, or business in poison. We're encouraged to avoid occupations based on dishonesty or injury. Whatever our job is, we can practice it mindfully, with an intention of non-harm, of easing suffering, and of compassion. This means developing an attitude towards our occupation beyond just the money we make. We can develop an approach of service and caring about the effects of our actions on others, both within and outside of our workspaces. Wise livelihood is not just about judging ourselves or others for their choice of work, or trying to limit their choices. Instead, we try to understand why and how we engage in whatever occupation we practice. Whatever work we do, we can maintain an intention of benefiting others. Said volume was low. I can turn myself up a little bit. I don't want to be crackly here. I'm sure. Oh, doxing myself. What was I saying? Yeah, just late night working. So I think, like Christianity, all the good deeds we do want to change our bad karma to catch up to us. And we still go to karma hell. Something inescapable, it seems. Well, I think the Buddhists would say that, hell is here on earth. As long as you're stuck in the cycle, you're stuck in karmic hell. Ain't it the truth? Had a nightmare, I'm sorry to hear. Every day is a nightmare. But I try not to complain, because every time I complain, things tend to get worse. Sorry, I said this fucking guy shining his. My eyes are hooked up now. It's like I work out here all night and then people want to shine bright lights in my eyes. I think they get off on this shit. Demons! Motherfucking demons. Oh, that's what I meant to do. 12:32 in the morning. I had a video. Let's see if this will play for us. Oh, come on. Maybe it won't do anything. I don't know. There we go. So, a new series from Jackson Weed. Have fun with this. 8 Men Frauds. If you don't know, check out Jackson's channel. Fun stuff. As if it plays this whole. Oh, here it comes.
Hello, it is me, Yee, your favorite Jackson.
You're
and
Yee?
we're gonna...
Wait, you're Yee?
No, I'm not Yee. No, that's not me.
That's a relief.
No, someone else is Yee, not me, fortunately. Okay, and joining me is Peter, my wonderful host and co-host.
Yes. Unless you're Yee, because if that would have been the case, I would have been out. Yeah, I'm not
No.
producing for
No,
Yee.
I don't make music or
You're not Jesus
associate
either?
with the National Socialist Party.
And you're not Jesus. Or better
It's
than
true, I'm
better
not
than
Jesus.
Jesus.
Well,
Because-
I can't do any cool party tricks like turning water into wine. There's a really funny TikTok. I've seen it multiple times. That's like what is it? Jesus turns water into oh, what was it? Pinot, I think. And they're all his apostles are like, "Oh man, he did Pinot again. Could you do something else? You know, like a Sauvignon Blanc." Sauvignon Blanc or something Sauvignon.
Gin or
And,
bourbon or
it was pretty funny.
something like
And
that.
then also joining us is Neslig, one of my editors.
Hello, good to be back.
We have been very busy behind the scenes working on scripts. We did the Lamprey's Tale recently, which ended up being like a mini documentary, 45 minutes.
Is it the longest video that you have ever done? I think it may be.
I think that may be, yeah, the longest scripted, yeah.
Yeah, at least of course, live streams will be longer, of course. But I
Right,
think
the longest
just
scripted video. Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is the longest one. Yeah, 45 minutes was pretty long for us. I mean, Erica over at Guts at Gibbon has done some like 3-hour scripted videos. And then of course, there's what H Bomber guy's like 4-hour video on plagiarism. So there are some pretty long videos out there on YouTube. One of the things about Kent Hovind was like he managed to get his like hour-long Kent Hovind speech on YouTube back in the early days when not a lot of people made videos that were longer than like 10 minutes. That was one of the things that made him really popular early on YouTube. But yeah, I think that's the longest scripted video we've ever done. And I think it turned out really well. I was really happy with the way it turned out. We covered a lot of really cool stuff. We talked about the evolution of teeth and scales and jaws and spiracles, all sorts of neat stuff. Ostracoderms, placoderms, chondrichthyans, agnathans, or cyclostomes, whatever. The next one is the Lancelot's Tale, and I've already finished the script for that and sent it off to Neslig.
I did not notice it yet. Sorry, I will take a look at it. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. I know you're busy. So yeah, I finished the Lancelot's Tale, and I've already started writing the Ragworm's Tale, which is the next one. So yeah, we're hard at work over here at Jackson Wheat Incorporated, working on a new script.
What was your motto at the beginning? Like, hello, it's your favorite.
It's your favorite. It's your favorite. Jackson, it's me, Yee, or something like that. I don't remember. I just say things sometimes.
I was thinking about like, oh, it's your favorite grain of the old chaff, like wheat. Your favorite grain of the old chaff.
Yeah. But when we get into the Lancelot's Tale,
Isn't chav the Russian version of a redneck?
Is
No.
it?
Yes.
No, it's just like it's like when you separate the grain from the chaff when you harvest.
Yes, but
like that's never mind.
But a chaff in Russian is not a good thing if you're a chav.
No.
Just
Is
saying.
that so? Are there rednecks like living out in Siberia?
Well,
Is that where they put their rednecks?
It's the Russian form, undereducated, overconfident, annoying. I mean, all the good parts. That
Yeah.
Anyway.
So let's see. So the Lancelot's Tale, we talk about the features that make chordates. And that one also ended up being pretty long on my end. I'm sure you'll add to it. So that one might turn out pretty long too. I think the Ragworm's Tale is also going to be pretty long, because we have to go from Ambulacraria, which is the only other clade of extant deuterostomes besides chordates. And by the way, may I say, Ambulacraria is a terrible name for that clade. And it's a terrible name because what does Ambulacraria refer to? It refers to ambulacral grooves. Now you might think, well, okay, if the name of these two groups, the hemichordates and the echinoderms, are referring to ambulacral grooves, well, surely both groups have those, right? No. Hemichordates don't have ambulacral grooves. It is not a plesiomorphic character of Ambulacraria. Just hemichordates don't have it at all. It's not like it's not like it's a character they had and they lost it. They just didn't have it. In fact, ambulacral grooves aren't even in all stem echinoderms. They are a derived character within Echinodermata. So I just think it's a terrible name.
Yeah.
I don't know. That is my opinion. That's my hot take on Ambulacrarians. Ambulacrarian taxonomy.
And does the book also like mention the Fortulicodians?
No, Dawkins doesn't, but we will. We'll
yeah.
cover them in the Ragworm's Tale because I'm reading a paper that was published last year that has them as it pins them as tentative stem deuterostomes, both the Anazoan and the Tulicolian as tentative stem deuterostomes, which kind of makes sense to me, except for like Banfia. Banfia is a weird one because Vitulicolians have this weird bipartite body plan. They look kind of like tadpoles, but they have this cuticular covering on them, arches, like which is a characteristic ancestral for deuterostomes. And so they have these kind of odd mix of characters, which could be reminiscent of the ancestral Nephrozoan, for instance. It could be the case that maybe the ancestor of protostomes and deuterostomes look something like these weird little tadpole guys with gills. I mean, I wouldn't be particularly surprised because think about it. If you think about, and the same goes for Unanozoan, it's like a weird little, it looks kind of like Hycoichthyes, but like without the characters that are diagnostic of chordates, basically, except for the gills, the pharyngeal arches. So it's again, tentatively a stem deuterostome. And again, that's what we expect. So in this series, we've said over and over and over and over again that as you get to the point where two clades meet, their fossil relatives are going to look, they're going to, like on both sides, are going to start converging, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to have all the characteristics that are diagnostic of the crown group, that is the extant members of that group. They're going to have some of them, probably, but not all of them. So some of those characteristics, some characteristics that are ancestral for the whole group, and they're going to look like relatives on the opposite side of that branch, because of course, I mean, they're getting close to their ancestor, so they're going to look more like the ancestor. And so it gets really difficult to figure out, well, which side of the line do they fall on? Is this a stem deuterostome or is this a stem protostome? And at this point, we're not looking at stuff like stem manatees versus stem elephants, even though those are pretty similar at their base because they share a common ancestor in Cenozoic. We're looking at things that diverged 600 million years ago. So they diverged from things for which we really don't have a very good fossil record because most of them were small and soft-bodied. And the characteristics that define them as a group are pretty limited, right? For deuterostomes, it's like maybe a dorsal nerve cord and pharyngeal arches, and that's it. Those are like the only characteristics that will define a stem deuterostome. There's really nothing else. And so if you find some kind of weird, bag-like or tadpole-like critter in the fossil record 550 or so million years ago, like, how are you going to figure out where it goes? It's really hard. So that's why in the Ediacaran, the period right before the Cambrian, all of the fossils that we have are from what are called Lagerstätten. So they're these really well-preserved fossil sequences. Basically, you have this like really good set of pristinely preserved fossils, and because all these organisms are soft-bodied, they have to be preserved this way. If you don't have that they're not going to get preserved. And so, and then at that point in the
What's up, folks? Good to see you, Halsey. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights.
in the Ediacaran, and you have like your stem bilaterians and your stem metazoans, and trying to figure out who's in which group is also difficult. There's been a lot of debate over that in the last like decade.
Yeah,
or
there's
so.
also like Kimberella is also like it may be a mollusk, or it may be a stem mollusk, or maybe even a stem Blophozoan. Or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's
although I would be comfortable in as a like it appears to have a radula, like there are like these marks that's like points to a radula. So I think it's maybe a stem mollusk or a mollusk.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a stem mollusk or something like that, or stem Lophotropozoan. Yeah. And the cool thing about this is like we're only within the last like 10 years or so have researchers started figuring out where these things go, because you had guys like was it Gleisner or Glassner, however you pronounce his name, back in the 1960s, who was digging out in Ediacara Hills in Australia and finding Dickinsonia and Spergina and all these other guys, but and Charnia, whatever else, but he had no idea what they were. and then we found them in Avalon Hill, up in Canada, I think. And then you have was it the White Sea assemblage, which I believe largely comes from Russia, if I remember. Anyway, basically you have these Ediacaran assemblages, and we have a bunch of really weird, like, you know, critters with a glide symmetry instead of bilateral symmetry, stuff that is like fractal. You have these weird, like Tribrachidium, which are like these spirally, like spirally symmetric animals. Very weird stuff. And only within the last 10 years or so have researchers been able to identify, hey, Dickinsonia and its phylum Proarticulata, these guys are stem bilaterians, the glide symmetry ones, and then like Charnia and the Arboriomorphs and the Ernetiomorphs, all these weird frond-like animals. These are stem eumetazoans. And so like only recently, last few years, like within the last 10 years, have we finally like figured out where these things go, which makes sense, right? The earliest fossils we find of animals are sponge steranes from the Cryogenian, and then a little bit later we find the earliest stem eumetazoans, and then we find a little bit later stem bilaterians, and then a little bit later we have this big radiation of crown bilaterians. Like that makes perfect sense.
I think we also have like a Cnidarian, like a Hautia, I think it's pronounced, or how? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean there are stem and crown Cnidarians in the Ediacaran,
Yeah.
Hautia, Aurora Lumina, or whatever, however it is. But yeah, but that's what I mean, right? Like we have sponges first, then we have stem eumetazoans and crown eumetazoans, as well as stem bilaterians, and then we have the crown bilaterians after that, which is, you know, Nestle, that seems kind of evolutionary to me. I don't know about you. That does seem a little evolutionary.
Nah.
No. But like when you read, for instance, the literature for, and I use that term very loosely.
Hey, Speed Romans, good to see you. Yeah, Jackson's a favorite channel of mine. Not sure who the other cat is. They're going to some commentary here. I was going to skip forward, but I think we're getting close.
Literature from like, you know, Gunter Beckley and Stephen Meyer over at the Discovery Institute. Do you get any sense of that at all? No. They're not going to tell you about that. They're not going to tell you about the really cool you know, steps that paleontologists have taken the rocks, because that kind of defeats the narrative. If suddenly it's all very evolutionary and not, you know, God spake it into existence, then that's kind of problematic.
It's something that we have discussed before. Like they basically have two boxes when it comes to this issue. Like, oh, either it goes into the not transitional enough box, or it's too transitional enough, or too transitional box. Like,
right.
Like you have Stephen Meyer saying like, oh, like Anomalocaris or these like stem arthropods are like, oh, they are just arthropods, like nothing special or so, nothing different. And then when you go back even further, like Kimberella, like or maybe the rangeomorphs and such. And it's irrelevant to the issue. It's too transitional, basically. No, it's
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's well, and then you have so or I loved a thing he did in Darwin's Doubt. So he took the lobopods, which are a paraphyletic assemblage of stem onychophorans, or sorry, stem panarthropods, stem onychophorans, stem tardigrades, and stem arthropods, and lumped them all as one phylum called Lobopodia.
All right.
Because again, why? I just like, it's not transitional enough, I guess. Even though this is a group of different like fossils from the stem stem groups of multiple phyla. No, it's fine. No, we're not going to talk about it. They're not transitional.
Here to go into the waste basket taxon, and we don't need to deal about them because of that.
Yeah, it's insane. It's really bad. Really bad. So anyway, we are going to look again today at the fraud video. And I did want to say, I want to make a note from last time. So there was a fossil that was mentioned at the very end of the video in which the guy quoted a well-known paleoanthropologist as saying that this fossil was a fraud, even though it isn't. It's not a fraud. Like, it's just a fossil. of either of like some early homo. But he quotes the guy saying that this thing is a fraud. Of course, the only place you can find that quote is with Carl Werner. The paleoanthropologist doesn't say it anywhere else. So of course, that's the only place you can find it. Not surprising. So
Well, so speaking about frauds, I still watch
Okay.
while you watch Hovind the Lesser more on Twitter. I still watch Hovind the Honorable. I think I don't know.
the honorable.
the the larger, the more worrying.
The
So
greater?
yeah, no, I wouldn't call him greater. No. But so he did his whack an atheist thing again yesterday,
Mhm.
as he should, and he was talking about a guy called Donald Protho.
Donald Prothero. Yeah, we've had him on the channel.
Protho. He showed pictures of
Protho.
Prothero. He also showed that the text
Oh,
said
okay.
Prothero, but he couldn't.
Oh, he's calling him Protho.
Yeah, he just said
Okay.
Protho. But so Hovind is now
All right.
desperately in need of someone because he can't find it. He wants the court transcripts of the trial against Haeckel. For his famous
The thing that didn't exist.
yes, the trial that didn't
Because he
exist.
made it up.
The trial that didn't exist. He wants the transcripts, and he's looked for his famous
The thing that didn't exist.
yes, the trial that didn't
Because he made
exist.
it up.
The trial that didn't exist.
Yeah. Well, we'll just keep roaming around the internet. If anybody wants to come in.
Over here in the crew at Dinosaur.
Over here in the crew at
Dinosaur. In Lennox, Alabama, March the 27th. We're on everything except TikTok. It froze up. Always something with the computers. See, we're out in Lennox, Alabama. You got to understand, they just got electricity 2 weeks ago out here. And they're still using smoke signals instead of telephones. It's the way we love it out here, way out in the sticks. Man, you guys cleaned up the camp. I can't believe it. It looks awesome. Thank you. The boys work like that all the time at your house, too? Yeah. Even at your, send them here. We'll take them. Okay. We're on a bunch of channels. You check them all out on drdino.com. That's where we keep everything up to date, up to speed. On Facebook, Brighton, Rumble, Odyssey, everything like, let's see. Old-fashioned, independent, temperamental, fundamental. Right-wing, radical, chicken-eating Baptist church. Let me know when TikToker's on, brother, and I'll invite him in or welcome him here. Okay, let's see. Stephen Hawking said, I regard the brain as a computer which will stop working when its components fail.
Maybe you're better off.
8 Ball 9. Wise effort is the first of the concentration group. It means concentrating our effort on understanding and recovery and awakening. Wise effort isn't based on how much we should meditate, how much service we do, or how much time we put into healthy activity. Instead, it's the intention to devote balanced energy to supporting the others of the path, particularly wisdom. The first thing to pay attention to is to avoiding situations and states of mind that can lead to unethical, unskillful, or harmful responses. We become more aware of conditions in our lives and investigate our own responses and reactions to those conditions. When we're operating out of greed, ignorance, confusion, or thinking we can get what we want, we need to be aware of that. We put in the effort and energy to understanding what circumstances allowed these conditions to arise, and how we can begin to move away from those responses. Energy or effort is also devoted to letting compassion, loving kindness, generosity, and forgiveness arise when they're not present. If we find ourselves reacting with anger rather than compassion, fear instead of generosity, blame instead of forgiveness, we can ask how we would respond if those positive factors were present, and begin to respond more skillfully. Being hard on ourselves, beating ourselves up, and suffering from perfectionism are all familiar feelings during addiction and recovery. When we shame ourselves for not being good enough, not trying hard enough, not being enough, these are perfect opportunities to practice wise effort, to reflect on the question, in this moment, how can I be kind and gentle with myself?
Fail. There is no heaven or afterlife for broken down computers. It's a fairy tale for people afraid of the dark. Well, Stephen knows better now. It's a sad way to learn. Anyway, we're straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles, where God gets the glory for his creation instead of the stupid evolution religion. Did we get enough hay, brother? Anybody remember? We got bales of hay. We got some. Yeah, it finally started to rain around here, so hopefully the drought's over. So I asked if you could bring some hay. Please do. Okay, today, March 27th. You know, AJ, I did last week, I took pictures of my dog, the pug. Every time I bend down to, I think if he only attacks me just so somebody will come pat him. Oh, you're doing a good job. I'm going to start calling that dog AJ. That'd be perfect. He just wants attention. That's all. Oh, poor AJ. Okay. Anyway, help us to open for free. Join our 777 club. If you like what we're doing, we're going to try to win souls. I need some help, some support. Call Sandra, 855 Big Dino, extension 1. They're all, what? I'm on TikTok now. Sorry, guys, you came in a little bit late. It's our fault. Well, the TikTok's fault or your fault? Okay. Got a PhD, right? Push hair dummy? Right, okay. Go see all the channels there. Open for almost 8 years now. Next Monday is National Atheist Day. Yeah, April Fools. You're a fool if you don't believe in God. So join our 777 club and if you want to help support our ministry right there. Tonight, Whack an Atheist. I forgot to change the name. It's not Dan. He's been on there a long time. I've whacked him a few times too, though, and we'll gladly do it again. Whack-a-mole game, like the object is to wait till the mole sticks his head up, says something dumb, and then whack him back down. See how fast you can get them all down. Kids love to play the game. Adults love it. And whack-a-mole. You wait for the atheist to stick up with Whack an Atheist. Where's my hammer, brother? I got one. This is definitely not
What a bitter and hateful individual, huh? Yeah, thank you, Speed Romans. I'll post some source links down below.
not my whacking hammer is. No. Oh, stuff disappears around here. Anyway, whack-a-mole game tonight. So we got a few hard-headed atheists. Keep coming up again. You got to whack them again. And so we're going to whack one a second time tonight. Did it once more a couple weeks ago. Lawrence Krauss. Lawrence Krauss, a year younger than me, Canadian-American theoretical physicist at Arizona State, Yale, Case Western Reserve University. He joined the Atheist Day. They had the webinar last month. Congratulations, Lawrence. He founded ASU's Origins Project in 2008 to investigate fundamental questions about the universe. Do you really want to investigate fundamental questions about the universe? Krauss is an advocate for public understanding of science. Really? Okay. Public policy based on sound empirical data. Whoa. Do you have any empirical data for evolution? You have any empirical data to show any animal changing to another kind of animal? Did we get another chart like this, only a little bit smaller? This is a little bit big for here for me to keep holding up and referring to. You guys believe everything came from a protozoa or an amoeba or something? Do you believe, Mr. Krauss, if I understand your religion, that humans are related to emus and beavers and, let's see, frogs, sunflowers? You believe all the fish? We're all related. Do you have any empirical data for that? Any empirical data that would show any animal or plant ever producing something other than its kind? Let's see this empirical data. Scientific skepticism, you're not skeptical of evolution. You ought to be real skeptical of that. We all came from a dot of nothing. And science education, well, I'm in favor of that. I got a PhD in education. I taught high school science and math 15 years. I like science. You want science, real science? Well, then take evolution out of it. It's not part of science. Let's see. He's an anti-theist. He's against God. Not just atheist. He's anti-theist. He's against God. Whoa. Krauss seeks to reduce the influence of what he regards as super and get rid of evolution, because evolution is superstition and religious dogma. Get it out of there, okay? He became the director of the Origins Project, a university initiative created to explore humankind's most fundamental questions about our origins. Well, good. I can help you with that tonight. His opposition to intelligent design has gained national prominence. Well, you don't think there's an intelligent designer of any? Is there an intelligent designer of the ink pen? Was there an intelligent designer of the coffee cup? Is there an intelligent designer of a single cell in your body? You don't believe that? Let's see. George Ellis, interview with Scientific American, said Krauss does not address why the laws of physics exist, why they have the form they have, or in what kind of manifestation they existed before the universe existed. Yeah, where were those laws? Where was the law of gravity before the universe was made? Which he must believe if he believes they brought the universe into existence. Yeah, good point. You believe the laws of physics brought the universe into existence. Well, where did the laws come from if they existed before the universe? Good point, George. Let's see.
But where did the laws come from? One animal turning into another. Yeah, with a transspeciation. Yeah. Nope. Welcome, Joe Sam. Yeah, he always wears the same shirt. I think, yeah. Surprised he doesn't have his SpongeBob. He must have lost his little SpongeBob.
Who or what dreamt up symmetry principles, Lagrangians, specific symmetry groups, gauge theories, and so on? He does not begin to answer these questions. He criticized the philosophical viewpoint of the book, saying it's very ironic when he says philosophy is bunk, and then himself engages in this kind of attempt at philosophy. New York Times, philosopher of science and physicist David Albert said the book failed to live up to the title. He said Krauss dismissed concerns about what Albert calls his misuse of the term nothing. How do you misuse the term nothing? He believed nothing created everything. I think that's real dumb. Since if matter comes from relativistic quantum fields, let me translate that for you. Nothing. Matter came from nothing, okay? The question becomes, where did those fields come from, which Krauss does not discuss. Commenting on the philosophical debate sparked by the book, physicist Carroll asked, do advances in modern physics and cosmology help us address these underlying questions of why is there something called the universe at all? And why there are things called the laws of physics? And there's a bunch of them, okay? And why these laws seem to take the form of quantum mechanics. And why some particular wave function in Hamiltonian, in a word, no, I don't see how they could. There's a law of physics called the Archimedes principle. When you press on a fluid, you displace some of it, an equal amount is displaced, okay? According to the principle, when the body is partially or totally submerged, it experiences a thrust force which is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it. You put a 1,000-ton ship in the ocean, it displaces 1,000 tons of water. So you better hope your ship floats, okay? You got better learn about Archimedes principle, okay? According to the law of gravitation, every object in the universe attracts every other object. Well, that's interesting. The moon is attracting the Earth, and the Earth is attracting the moon. And they're in a real cool balance where it's going fast enough to keep going away, centrifugal force, but it's also pulling in enough to keep it just in near perfect orbit. All the planets do that. All the stars do that. All this gravitational attraction just happened, didn't it? Nobody made it. Okay. Well, you believe that if you'd like, Mr. Krauss, okay? They have a force directly proportional to the product of their mass and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. The heavier they are, the more attraction. And if you bring it into 1/3 the distance, you flip that over and square it, it's 9 times the pull, the inverse square law. Where did that law come from? Who made the law of gravitation? Where did the laws of gravitation come from? Who made this law? Who makes sure nothing breaks the law? Is there a policeman making sure no planets break the law? Who's enforcing the law? Where did the law of inertia come from? And who made this law? And who makes sure nothing breaks the law? Because nothing breaks it. Where did Bernoulli's law come from? Bernoulli's principle. Who made the law that moving fluids have less pressure, letting airplanes fly? Nobody breaks that law. Physical universe is defined quantitatively and qualitatively in and by time, space, and matter. Special relativity tells us motion warps space and time. And Einstein combined that with the principle noted over 3 centuries earlier by Galileo that falling objects accelerate at the same rate regardless of their mass. You drop a BB and a cannonball in a vacuum, they hit the ground at the same time. Drop a BB and a battleship in a vacuum, they hit the ground at the same time.
Oh, Galileo, Galileo. What we needed tonight was Kent explaining physics to a physicist, to us, or something. The law is self-enforced. Yeah. The law is the lawgiver, right? Is that an argument? That might be circular, I don't know.
Time. Let's see. God created the heavens, space, and the earth by converting energy into them. The creation account of the Holy Scriptures agrees with observable evidence. And the first thing God tells man is that he's in control of all aspects of the universe. In the extreme regime of the primordial universe, time, space, and matter present quantum properties. He founded Origins Project in 2008 to investigate fundamental questions about the universe. Okay, I can help you. In the beginning, God.
He said 2008. Yeah, that's an extra. I think he added a 0. I'm not the best at math either. But.
God created the heaven and the earth. There's the answer. You want to have some laws create the universe? Well, you're making the laws into God. You're just replacing God with laws and nothing. You're doing the same. Somebody had to create this place. Thus saith the Lord that created the heavens, God himself that formed the earth and made it. He established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I'm the Lord. There's none else. What more do you want, Lawrence? There it is. Okay. You shut that off. Okay. Huh? Okay. Moses said to him, as soon as I'm gone out of the city, I will spread abroad my hands to the Lord, talking about Pharaoh, and the thunder shall cease. Neither shall there be any more hail, that thou mayest know that the earth is the Lord's. Pharaoh, when I walk out, the thunder's going to stop. You're going to know there's a God. But as for thee and thy servants, I know that you will not yet fear the Lord your God, the Lord God. And I know, Lawrence, my whacking you will not help. You don't fear the Lord God at all. Yes, you will. I'm trying to help, okay? Let's see. The heaven is the Lord's. The earth is the Lord's. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, and they that dwell therein. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. The earth is the Lord's. It all belongs to him. He made it. And you don't want to admit that. You're an anti-theist there now, okay? By the way, I'll debate you live anytime. My channel, your channel, anybody's channel. Any of you atheists. Equal time.
He didn't just say it 3 times. He had to say it 4 times to affirm it. You catch that? I think I heard him say it 4 times.
for each side, no interrupting, one topic at a time, and no cursing. Fair enough? Anybody that calls, okay? Let's see. When the Bible said that in the last days there would come scoffers named Lawrence Krauss, walking after their own lust and saying, where's the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of. Willingly ignorant that by the word of God the heavens were of old. See, God just spoke everything into existence. You said you have an origins project, you wanted how it's done. He already wrote a book a long time ago and told us how he did it, okay? He spoke it into existence. We're living in a single sentence of God. God said, let there be, and here we are. And the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. The world was destroyed by a flood, Mr. Krauss. That explains all the geology that we see, all the layers of the earth, from the tidal pumping, moon pulling the water up, down, as we spin under the moon. That's where the layers come from. They're not different ages, okay? But the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. See, you, like many scoffers today, are willingly ignorant of the creation, the flood, and the coming judgment. You founded the Origins Project to investigate fundamental questions. Okay, why don't you invite me to speak at your Origins Project? I'll tell them. I got the answer to all of them. God did it. Then you're going to say, where did God come from? Where did the laws come from, Mr. Krauss? Where did the energy come from? Where did time come from? Where did space come from? You don't know. You don't know any of that. The fool said in his heart, there's no God, and you're a fool if you don't believe in God. The fool said in his heart, there's no God. Psalm 53, said it twice. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. That's the beginning. And you don't have that. You haven't even started to be smart. You might be good in physics. I'm pretty good at physics. And know a lot of stuff about physics. I'm pretty good at physics too.
Edited now, right? I mean, I've seen a couple where it's kind of like, did he edit that?
But I'm telling you, you haven't.
Yeah, I think so.
You started to be smart. Unless you fear the Lord. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. I know you despise me telling you you're not smart, but you're not smart. Okay. How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity, and the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge? In the lips of him that hath understanding, wisdom is found, but the rod is for the back of him that is void of understanding. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. And all of you that are following Mr. Krauss and believing the garbage he's spewing out, you're a fool. You're an idiot. You're going to be destroyed. Okay. The tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness. Smite the scorner, and the simple will beware. Okay. He wrote a book.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good book. I've got it in my playlist. If you've read the book, indicate so in the side chat. Let me know what you think. Universe from Nothing.
Book, A Universe from Nothing. Really. God said, or Jesus said in Matthew 12, I say unto you, every idle word men shall speak. I want to say that probably includes writing them out too, or typing them out, okay? All these words in your book, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. God's going to read your book back to you, Mr. Krauss, and say, why did you say this? Why did you say this? By thy words thou shalt be justified, by thy words thou shalt be condemned. God's got every word you've ever spoken or written or thought about. You're going to be judged. Me too, by the way. Praise God, mine's cleansed by the blood of Christ. Whew. Seest thou man wise in his own conceit, thinks he's smart? There's more hope of a fool than of him. Conversation with Lawrence Krauss, a theoretical physicist on the edge of knowledge. Whoa. He wrote a book, The Edge of Knowledge. You're on the edge, all right, because you're not inside. You're outside of it, okay? Theoretical physics, okay? The edge of knowledge. There are 225 varieties of peafowl, 3 different species. You really believe nobody made this? Nobody made it. This all came from a dot of nothing exploding. I'm sorry, rapidly expanding. You really believe that? The peacocks are going to laugh at you up in Judgment Day. Saying, you couldn't believe we were designed. What is wrong with you? You don't see designer in any of that, do you? Just happened. He's an advocate for public understanding of science. No, you're not. Science means knowledge. We know cows produce cows. We do not know that cows are related to bananas and frogs. We don't know that. You can believe that if you wish. It's too big of a chart. Give me a regular size one. Okay. You don't know that humans are related to bunnies, rabbits, and whales, and kangaroos. You don't know such a thing. You can believe that if you wish. That's your religion, and you believe it very strongly. Yeah, congratulations. It doesn't make it science. You're not in public understanding of science. Come on. Evolution isn't science. Public policy based on sound, empirical data, scientific skepticism. Okay, start being skeptical of your own religion of evolution, would you please? because it's not science, it's a religion. Science education, well, I'm in favor of that. I love science, but evolution isn't part of it. He's an anti-theist. He seeks to reduce the influence of what he regards as superstition and religious dogma. Okay, then help me reduce the influence of evolution, Lawrence, because it's not part of science. It's a religious belief. He's the director of the Origins Project. Explore the most fundamental questions about origins. Okay, where did space come from? Where did time come from? Where did matter come from? Where did energy come from? Those are fundamental questions. Do you have an answer? I do. God did it. It's real simple. His opposition to intelligent design has gained national prominence. You're going to say, where did God come from? Well, the question is invalid. Where did God come from? Those 5 words, 4 of them don't count. Where means, time, distance, space. If God's already in all places, the where doesn't apply to him. He's already here and there. Did involves time, past, present, future. God's already in past, present, and future. So did doesn't apply to God. Where did God, that applies. Come, again, involves space or distance. God's already in all places. From, again, involves distance. The question's no good. Try another one. It's like asking, why are elephants orange? They're not orange. Okay. Why did the heathen rage? The people imagine a vain thing. The kings of the earth set themselves, the rulers and science teachers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heaven shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision. Mr. Krauss, you don't know where space came from, do you? You don't know where time came from. You don't know where matter came from. You don't know where energy came from. You don't know where all those laws came from. You claim you love science and education. You're not a scientist. You're a religious zealot pushing your religion on others. That's all you are. Sorry, you're not a scientist. So consider yourself whacked. I'll debate you anytime. Okay? Bring it on. Kent Hovind, Dinosaur Adventureland, Lenox, Alabama. Stop in and see us. We'll give you a cabin, put you up, give you the tour, debate you right here in our studio at Genesis Baptist Church. Any comments or questions? Part of the archival records of the University of China were damaged by bombings in World War II. The Haeckel records appear to have been untouched. Well, read them to me. I want to see it. Please, please, please. Yeah, Germany did go through a hard time there. They kind of asked for it. Ray Comfort directly witnessed to Lawrence Krauss and Penn Jillette. So they'll be without excuse on Judgment Day. He's an arrogant God hater. While there's still life, there's hope, but it's running out. I did not know that, Joe. Joe, thank you. I'll call Ray's a good friend of mine. Witness to Lawrence Krauss himself. Good. Ray's good. Okay. Other questions? You are very well read and have a large body of knowledge of many things. How often do you read non-biblical material? How much do you read in general? I'm a readaholic. I was in prison. I think I read, I don't know, a whole bunch. I read all the time. I love. Pick a topic. Now, some topics I don't know much about. I don't care about them. Okay. Krauss, the man who said life came absolutely nothing. From absolutely nothing. Ha ha ha. What's the truth? You'll regret that one. Sad. You'll regret that one day. Any more? Any more?
That's great.
Trying to find them, getting parts and stuff. Trying to find them, getting parts and stuff. All right. All right.
Amazing.
Can't disprove evolution even if you don't believe in God. Can't disprove evolution even if you don't believe in God. You can't believe in mainstream, whatever that was. Okay. Pre-wrath. Pre-wrath. Oh, here we go. No flat earthers. Good. Praise God. Okay.
They want to know some books you recommend to disprove evolution.
Books to disprove evolution. Oh, there are hundreds and hundreds of them that have been written. Go check out through my website, drdino.com. We have a lot of stuff on there.
Our way around.
Can't find it. He wants the court transcripts of the trial against Haeckel. for his famous
The thing that didn't exist.
yes, the trial that didn't
Because he made
exist.
it up.
The trial that didn't exist. He wants the transcripts, and he's looked everywhere, but he can't find them.
Because he made it up.
Yes, it's
He-
yeah.
Was literally the person who made it up. Like, if you try, I think or actually I could be wrong. I think I have seen one source that predates him that claims that there was a trial at Jenna,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, but it also had no references in it at all,
Oh.
and that was it.
I
That's the
forgot.
only thing I can find. Everything.
I forgot who it was. That there was someone who actually contacted the University of Jena, and they said, "Yeah, that never happened. There's no record of any of that." So, no,
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
It's like I guess it's not fair to say he made it up, but he copied it, I'm sure, from someone else who.
I think it's fair to say that he didn't make it up because that would take some kind of intelligence, and I don't think he's had it. I don't know. But so another fun fact: he recently did a debate, Mr. Hovind, the more obnoxious,
the
with
not so greater.
yes, with someone even more obnoxious, Steven Anderson, on a channel even more obnoxious, so obnoxious in fact that YouTube took it down. So that was the end of the debate. At least that's what we thought. But a good friend of mine, Mark Stoney, former DAL member, rescued that debate and put it up on his channel. So a debate between
Okay.
Hovind and Anderson. And Hovind desperately wants to be liked by Steven Anderson, and Steven Anderson desperately wants to trash Hovind during the entire debate. So yeah, that was a fun one for me to watch. I mean, he literally disagrees with everything that comes out of Hovind's mouth, everything. And yeah, I thought it was funny. I mean,
Not at all surprising.
Yes.
Hovind really does, he definitely does want to be liked and revered and everything. The
mhm.
problem is he's, not good at anything. So
Yeah, if his
that.
fellow Christians criticize him, that's a blow.
Savage premarital mitosis for $2 says it's less well documented than Hovind's diploma. Very true.
Yes.
Oh, we have a creationist in the chat. If you want to defend creationism, we are happy to have you on. I was talking to, there were two separate creationists today who, one of them was the so-called expert debater. And I said, "Oh, you're an expert debater. Why don't you come on? I have a channel. We can talk to you." And he went, "No, I'm not coming on your channel." What was his reason?
An expert debater, also known as a master debater. We've known a few in our time. Yeah, Peter's tight. I think they're gonna do some Hovind here. We're just waiting through the banter. But clearly I'm having, whatever. It's a night. Hello. I mean, it's a morning. Good morning. I'm just chillaxing. Oh, shut the... Sorry, excuse me. I'm talking. I don't know why I didn't, I just forget to fix that. Gonna go for it. Is Peter working with a partner now? I thought somebody else was running the channel, or is that just for certain content? Either way, I have one of those queued up in the watch later as well. Oh well, yeah, they're going into a lot of stuff right now, Halsey. That's why I say I think they're going to review a particular Cat Hovind debate, but they're just they're chalking it up right now. So that's why I'm trying to get through this portion to get to the meat and potatoes, but I just haven't found a timestamp for it, and I figured I think we're getting close now. They're addressing side chat, and so I think they're getting close to the video. This is a long series Jackson's been doing now for past several weeks. So. Oh yeah, Robert Reed. That's who I'm thinking of. Yes. I didn't know if Robert was also hosting the channel. Okay.
I don't even remember what his stupid reason was.
I
But
forgot.
he declined.
Neutral platform or something. Like I want a neutral platform.
Well,
No, that wasn't even it,
we
I
can
think.
get- no, that wasn't it. Yeah, that was somebody else mentioned
Hmm.
that. But like, we could get a neutral platform if that were his worry. Like, I don't care. So he cowered out of a debate with me, and then there was another guy who also cowered out of a debate with me. It's so much fun. They're all scared. So anyway,
And then you got
I'm happy to have any of you guys on.
muscular Jesus responded to that. That to me,
Yeah.
that was the most fun one. He said debates are the weapon of men with absolutely no physical power, because
That's
yeah,
right. He probably just like beats people with a stick.
if you
yeah.
don't have a brain,
Also-
a club is the next best thing, right? That's I mean,
Yeah.
Also, I am not familiar about Peltdown Man. I am familiar about Piltdown Man, but not Peltdown Man.
he was the more hairy version.
Like,
He had a little bit more hair.
Yeah. I was looking to see. Oh, I ratioed him. That's so funny. Okay.
Mhm.
What a bunch of morons. Anyway, I do enjoy ratioing these cowards. It's very fun. Anyway, all right. Moving on. Okay, so today we're gonna get back to looking at this video where all the frauds are in the museums. So, are we ready?
It seems to be breaking news, and they got that down pretty well. But I would advise to get a better microphone for the news anchor, because that was kind of a giveaway that it wasn't really news. Well, you'll hear it. Let's start the video.
Okay.
150 frauds at all the largest museums: Paris, London, New York City, Buenos Aires, Johannesburg, involving the
Okay, so my bad. No, they're actually covering a separate news story. I don't know if this is from. Looks like it's probably something from AIG. Yeah, we can't agree with them all.
most common ape men you would think of: Neanderthal man, Homo habilis, Australopithecus afarensis, Australopithecus africanus.
Didn't we start this last time?
Et cetera, et cetera. It is widespread, and this is an alarming,
Let me check.
Discovery.
I think we started this one
Welcome
last
to the
time.
Creation Today show, where we bring together interviews with experts and solid Bible teaching. Your host, Eric Hovind, affirms the
Oh, dear.
ultimate authority of
Oh,
God's
dear.
word, the truth of creation, and
Yes.
why it matters.
Yeah.
It matters.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so we did.
Okay, now we got to the bottom of it. It's Eric Hoven's thing. Sorry, it's been a while. Creation Today.
Started. My bad. We should be
That's
at.
okay.
Oh. Okay. So let me do
I
that.
think we were like about 7 minutes in or something. I
5 minutes.
don't remember exactly when we stopped.
Five-
5 minutes. I
Okay.
overestimated. Yeah.
Ness, look, I appreciate your confidence in us.
So yeah, evidently this is from Creation Today with Eric Hoven. And, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree in this case. So. Yeah. He seems worse because he's a little bit educational.
Okay, I think this should be about it.
And I do want to point out before we start. Also, again, sorry, I'm cutting them off before they even open their mouths. Remember, Neanderthal man is just a human to them, right? Like Neanderthals are just people. So when he says like fraud Neanderthal men, like what does he mean? They're just people. I don't know.
I have heard a man with rickets or something like yeah.
Maybe I don't know. That's
Yeah.
because that was really only like the first one early on, right? Or that was like what it was claimed early on or whatever. But Neanderthal, like today, all the creationist organizations like acknowledge that that they're just humans. They claim.
Are they like
Neanderthals
saying they are pre-flood humans or?
No, I
don't
think they
know.
say that
Yeah.
that like Adam and Eve was like pre the common ancestor of Denisovans, Neanderthals, and humans, and so Denisovans and Neanderthals are just like degenerate people, basically.
Yeah, Jackson, you have to amend the title because this was what threw me off as well. Trusty Ape said it. I thought this was part
Oh.
1, so it apparently is part
Well,
2.
technically, okay, we were only 5 minutes in, and we spent very little time on this in the last episode.
No, I did not save this video because I got the name drop from Peter. But no, they did have a titling issue going on there. But yeah, no, it's all been fixed now.
Yeah.
So this is like by the title that I meant was we are like fully going into this one because the last one we just kind of tacked it on at the very end because we knew we were close to the end of the other video.
Jackson, as your producer, that's not how numberings work.
Well, I am the law.
The first time you address the video is the first time, and the second time is not the first time.
Okay. All right, we're gonna keep going.
Okay.
The Journal of French journal, and it's written in French, and so you had to translate it. And I thought, I'm not going to let anyone do this work.
Oh yeah, I remember
do
this.
The work of translating, and then I'm going to put a whole paragraph of what was said.
Translating is so hard in today's world with Google Translate.
Quote mining. I want to make it totally reliable information, and you can follow the quotes all the way down to this bibliography, and you can follow the photographs all the way down, and it is astounding.
Okay, Dr. Warner. Hey, I tell you what, before you give me the first fraud, or before we jump into this as well, or however you go through this, can you real quick tell me what made you do this? I mean, like this, it's almost like it's crazy what you've spent 27 years doing. Why did you do this?
It is
Why
crazy.
is he so close to
I
the
was like,
camera?
okay, so this starts as a 19-year-old medical student, 1979, I think that was. I was at the University of Missouri on a full tuition science
Groovy.
scholarship. That's an unusual thing to have a science scholarship.
Okay.
And I was a straight A biology undergrad. I was also in medical school at age 19. And some crazy Christian took me out to dinner and asked me 3 questions about evolution. And his questions were so simple, and yet I could not answer one of them. And I realized that there's something wrong
What were
with my
they?
belief system.
So you
Why
did pay
can't I
attention in
answer him?
class,
His questions
is what
were,
you're saying.
where did matter come from if it all came from, natural?
Really?
Where did
Are you
matter
kidding
come
me?
from? And there is no answer to that because of the laws of thermodynamics. The second question is, how
Oh
do I
my
begin?
God.
Because Carl, you know that the large molecules, the macromolecules like the DNA, the double helix,
It's origins of
proteins,
us
enzymes,
It
how
even
always
did they
over
is.
50
form
years ago.
naturally? How could
Every
life ever
time.
begin? And his
Every
third question is,
single time.
why does the fossil record not match evolution? Which I knew
It
did.
does.
But he said,
It
but how
does.
can that be with one?
I don't want to be that guy, but they even misspelled the word fossil. If you
time.
why does the fossil record not match evolution? Which I knew it,
It
did.
does.
But he said,
It
but how
does.
can that be with 1 billion?
Okay.
It
Um,
does. The fossil record does match evolution. What do you mean?
I am a little bit triggered. So let's see if we can do this. Just a small amount.
And his third question is, why does the fossil record?
What's a fossil?
Okay.
Anyone know what a fossil is?
I didn't even
Oh,
catch that. A
I didn't-
fossil.
yeah,
Why does the fossil
good
record?
catch.
That's
Yeah.
a good catch, Peter.
What's a fossil
Oh,
record?
Camilla caught it too. Camilla says she also caught it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It may be a fossil of a fossa.
A fossa fossil. Yeah.
Fossil.
Okay, so
Fossil.
like, so obviously, as a medical student, you are probably not going to be taught like the origin of the universe, unless I guess you take a cosmology class for whatever reason, and even then, maybe not.
We
How did
would-
life begin? Again, like there are literally 0 classes I took. Okay, part of one class in my entire undergrad where we like briefly discussed the origin of life. Part of one class, and then 3 is a loaded question. Why does the fossil record not match evolution? That's just a loaded question. It does. The fossil
Because it
record
does.
match what we expect under evolution.
Well, the
And I'd
fossil
be
record
curious
doesn't.
to know. The
Fo-
fossil record probably doesn't.
Yeah, the fossil record
record
doesn't.
does though.
Yeah, the fossil record does.
The fossil record is probably restricted to Madagascar.
But yeah, so like again, him being a medical student, I wouldn't expect a medical student to know much about paleontology. Like that's not their field. Their field is anatomy, right? That and medicine. That's what his schooling was for. And so like he has his area of expertise. None of these questions are about his area of expertise. And if he were smart, which he isn't, then he would have said, you know, I don't know what the answers to these are. This is nothing I study. But it wasn't. He went, oh, the dumb evolutionists don't have answers to anything, and became a creationist. So, I mean, and that's even assuming like he's telling the truth with this story. I mean, obviously we can't check, but that's assuming he's telling the truth. As Dapper points out, there are 0 people we're aware of who were non-religious first and then went straight to creationism from the science. They did not have a like pre-religious background or didn't like go through Christianity first.
I have heard about Fred Hoyle, or maybe I'm mistaken about that.
So he wasn't a creationist. He wasn't a younger creationist, I should say. Fred Hoyle acknowledged that the universe was old, but he had some
Right.
really wacky beliefs about
Yeah.
like Archaeopteryx.
Mhm.
He was
He was
He
also
was,
a
like, for the-
panspermia guy as well, yeah.
well, right, yeah, because he accepted evolution because he was like, yeah, abiogenesis happens all the time everywhere in space. It just rains down on Earth. So he accepted evolution, just a really weird version of it, and he was anti Archaeopteryx, and I think he was like pro the steady state model, which is why he like hated the Big Bang Theory.
Didn't he also was the one who coined the term Big Bang as a derogatory term, but it got adopted basically. The Big Bang got adopted.
Yeah.
That term, yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Hoyle was a weird guy, and Wickramasinghe, his student, and their group are also really weird. They were the ones who came up with that stupid meme about octopus genes from outer space.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Or like, and viruses fall to Earth from outer space and that crap. All silly nonsense. But at any rate, anyway, we're getting off topic. We can keep going.
Not match evolution, which I knew it didn't. But he said, but how can that be with 1 billion fossils?
So he was a
There could be
creationist already.
Billion fossils collected in a museum. Why wouldn't you be able to see evolution for every animal group? And that started me on my first 18 years of just kind of reading Eric and just trying to sort it out. It's like, well, this must be this and this must be this.
Pause for a
Then
moment.
finally,
Pause for a
I
moment.
told
Like he says, like, oh, if you have billions of fossils, why don't we why cannot we see the evolution of every animal group? Because most fossils are only from specific groups that fossilize really, really well. Like it's not equally distributed. That's the one thing. But aside from that, we still have a lot of fossils from many animal groups, and they show us evolution. Still, yeah.
And we've done like an entire series on them or something like that on our channel.
We may even be still doing the series.
Yeah,
as we speak.
It's
Yeah.
almost like we've been doing this series for like 3 years now, and we're still doing it. Maybe not every. I don't know. pretty close. Almost every episode of the series has transitional fossils of some sort in it. Almost every episode. Even the freaking like the flounder's tail had transitional fossils in it. It had Amphistium and Heteronectes, which are flatfish that have eyes that have not quite crossed the midline yet, but they're way at the top of the head on the the left side or whatever. At any rate, so they're way at the top of the head on one side, but they haven't yet crossed to the other side, which is the case for modern flatfish. So like yeah, for almost okay, the pike's tail. I guess we didn't talk about transitional fossils in the pike's tail, but that was because it was all extant fish morphology. So we didn't talk about it in that one. But like other than that, almost all of them. We've even done a couple of episodes that are just about, they're exclusively about fossil groups, like the Handyman's Tale. That was it exclusively. Or oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat. Savage premarital mitosis cobra for $2. Taphonomy. What even is that? Oh, taphonomy is the study of how organisms fossilize. So what taphonomists do, and they're not even, taphonomist isn't really a thing. It's like you're just a geologist or a paleontologist. You're basically a person who looks at the chemical composition of like the sediment that these organisms are in. What environment do they die in? How do they get? How did the sediment cover them and then get lithified? And how did that affect their body? That which is diagenesis, the process by which the sedimentation and compaction process affects the organism. Basically, all these processes kind of work together to affect how organisms are preserved. So taphonomy, we use taphonomy to understand, for instance, why are there so few jellyfish fossils? Well, there are so few jellyfish fossils because jellyfish are all soft-bodied. You have to have exceptional preservation conditions for these critters to get buried and then make a fossil, which is like an imprint. It's basically like a negative of their body. Because the rest of it.
The study of Tappy.
The study of Tappy, correct? Yes.
I believe like it's still a good question, a good answer. But I believe Savage may be a bit like sarcastic, like, oh, what is taphonomy even? Like because Werner is not aware of what taphonomy entails.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, my bad. My bad. I can't.
No, no worries.
I can't intuit sarcasm through the internet. My bad. Okay, we can keep going.
Peter, are you there?
My wife, I want to go do a one-year project and go do interviews. And that was a start in 1997. I thought it was going to take me a year, but I'm
that was
very
one Jackson
slow. I mean, I'm extremely slow. And I'm kind of like Jacob, you know, where I worked 7 years for Rachel and I got stuck with Leah. And then I had to go another 7 years and then I got Leah, but then her father wouldn't let me take Rachel off. And so I had to do another 7 years. So I am very tenacious. I just won't let go of something once I realize I have something really important.
So now 27 years. So it sounds like you're at the end of the fourth one of whatever those 7 years are. You're getting towards the end of that fourth one. You got to share with us what you and Debbie have discovered and why this is so significant. I heard you talk you're doing a couple little Zoom things, kind of private things for some people. And I've got invited to one of those. And honestly, I was hearing things that in all my years, 25 years of speaking on apologetics and creation versus evolution, you were sharing things with me that I had never heard before. And I just sat there going, wow.
He's so enthusiastic about it, very animated, you know, inspiring. Okay, well, I just got word, I don't know, I'm gonna have to see if I get a call here. We might get canceled out here tonight, so we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna take off early. Already gone. No, just joking. I'll just go to sleep.
This truth needs to be exposed. The frauds need to be exposed, and this truth needs to be proclaimed. So,
okay.
Just to make a note, if you hear something that you haven't heard before, it therefore is true, and it has to be known by everyone because it is new and you haven't heard it before, so it must be true. Is this?
Well, if he hasn't heard of it, then it must be true, which is probably a lot of things. I mean, let's be
Yes.
honest.
Well, okay. I'll give you that. Most of what he hasn't heard is true. Again. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what apologetics is, right? You only talk about things that aren't
basically.
true. So you won't hear about things that are true. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's true. I agree. Mhm.
Can you start taking us through some of the frauds that you've discovered? And I don't know how, if you have a method or how you go through them, but I'd love us to learn.
I'd love to hear
You
the
know
method.
what? Since we just have this limited time, I'm going to just show you some highlights.
I don't
not
have time to
in
actually
order, but
explain
I
everything.
want the
Sorry, I got to
audience
go by.
understand There's 150 frauds. Actually, some people would guess more than 150, but there's
Okay.
150 frauds. And here's the first one. This
Okay.
chart that we all grew
Oh,
up
for
on.
God's sakes.
This chart of
Are we doing this
a
crap
small
again?
ape evolving to a human. And the chart is called The Road to Homo Sapiens. And we interviewed the scientist, he's passed away now, his name was F. Clark Howell, who wrote this book for Time Life.
Uh-huh.
And through the course of the interview and reading his book and interviewing his colleagues, all that's important too. You have to do the interview, the side interviews. We realized that there's only 14 animals in here, that 10 of the 14 animals that he put on here that we've all believed were not ape men. He knew, let me repeat that. He knew 10 of the animals were
What?
not ape
Wait,
men.
wait.
Now, I
Pause.
wanna
Pause. Hold on. I think he circled Dryopithecus on there, which Dryopithecus is not a hominin. Dryopithecus is a stem hominoid, if I remember correctly. So technically,
I think it's like gorillas, chimpanzees, and humans are closer to each other than Dryopithecus were, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, like, if I remember correctly, yeah. Okay, maybe you're right. Maybe it's like it's a stem African ape. If I think
Yes,
you're right.
yes, I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So technically, so if you're gonna say it's not an ape man in the sense that it's not a hominin, which is how I assume he's using that term, then yes, Dryopithecus is not a hominin. It's a stem African ape, but it's still a transitional fossil between the earlier like pungines and the earlier hominoids and the later African apes. So it fills the time period and has the morphology between what we expect, right? Between these groups, which is why
Yeah.
it's where it is. So if you're going to say, well, it's not an ape man, well, no one's saying it is. I mean, it's an ape, but it's not a human.
I might be mistaken,
So
but
if-
that particular picture that he just put up, isn't that supposed to interpret the evolution of
Progress.
humans from other great apes, which would imply that probably not
I
all
think
of
it goes
the
back even farther than that.
that not all of the species in that.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna be stoked if I get to leave early. That'd be great. Try not to get my hopes up. Yeah. There we go. Excuse me.
Very modern apes, we've got some cool new information to talk about today. When you ask someone what the difference is between a monkey and an ape, usually what they'll say is that monkeys have tails and apes do not. Little kids can comprehend this distinction, and while it's ultimately wrong because technically apes are both anthropoid and catarrhine monkeys taxonomically, it is an important observation. Why is it that hominoid primates like humans, gibbons, chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans don't have tails? Some of you out there, these ones are quickly pointing out that we actually do have postanal tails. They're just internal and they've been exapted for new functions. And at this moment, I would like to say to you, quit being a know-it-all. That's my job. But hominoids don't have tails, and as
just waiting for this to catch up. I didn't want to turn the quality down. Yeah, Gut 6, one of my favoritist creators. And she acknowledged me inside chat.
as a youngster, and still to this day a little bit, I think that kind of sucks. I wish humans still had tails. That would be pretty awesome. I'm not thinking about the kind of tail that you might be thinking about in your head right now, like the furry kind that you like put on a belt, like a neon wolf tail. That's not my vibe. I'm thinking more of like a grotesque prehensile tail. I want the kind of tail that some attelids today have, with a hideous leathery underside that allows them to have a nice grip while they're moving through the trees and foraging. Prehensile tails with
You put it that way, it sounds a little gross, doesn't it? Okay, so we've had another take, so no luck on the western front yet, but we'll keep our fingers crossed.
calloused undersides have shown up multiple times in the animal kingdom over the course of mammalian evolution, just not hominins. And functionally, this makes just a load of sense. Look at these goobers try to stand bipedally. But tails, especially prehensile ones, would get in the way of our current locomotor style, which is a pretty efficient version of bipedality. Looking at the structure and form of the human pelvis as it is now, extending this coccyx much further would be problematic, to say the least, not just for our locomotor style, but even for things like childbirth. So it is not at all surprising that a tail did not return in hominin
Of course, if it gets any worse, we may just give up. We'll never give up. Never, ever give up.
evolution. So the organisms that exist moving forward in time towards Homo sapiens' spot, temporally speaking, after our split with chimpanzees. The reason that I've kind of sidestepped here and pointed out how tail encumber a hominin when moving bipedally, and then gone on to point out that tails didn't reappear within hominins for this reason, is because tails were already long gone well before bipedalism shows up on the scene. And this is contrary to a line that appears in the paper that we're going to be looking at today, which proposes that one of the hypotheses for the loss of tails in hominoids is bipedalism. And I do not think that there is the scantest support for that. This paper is a masterclass in exploring the how of hominoid tail loss, but I really think it is imperative that we keep in mind the potential why for tail loss as well, because it is the selective pressure that caused this character to move to fixation in ancestral hominoids. What I'm saying here in this lengthy preamble, right, is that this paper is going to be explaining the how, and I am going to be explaining the why, at least to the best of our understanding at present. The paper that we're going to be looking at today by Jia and colleagues is exploring the genetic and developmental reason that hominoids do not have tails, that we do not grow them in utero. What has changed genetically in our blueprints, as it were, to prevent us from growing and developing tails, whereas our Cercopithecus colleagues do, for the most part, as we'll explore a little bit more in a moment. Ape evolution began in the Miocene, which is a time period that begins roughly 23 million years ago. And the primates that dominated the scene prior to that, at least according to the fossil record snapshot that we have from the Fayum in Egypt, was mostly a group of organisms that consist of parapithecoids, propliopithecoids, oligopithecoids, and proteopithecoids. And of these guys, we have one major player that is extremely well characterized, and this is a monkey called Aegyptopithecus. Now, Aegyptopithecus was pretty similar to modern Cercopithecus, right? It's a baboon, guinan looking thing that is pretty generic as far as what we think of when we think of monkeys, and most importantly, this thing has a tail. Now, the latest Aegyptopithecus shows up approximately like 29-30 million years ago.
$30 million years. Okay. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna mind my business.
Whereas our first apes are showing up in the very earliest portions of the Miocene, roughly 23 million years ago, in the likes of Proconsul Mesue. Now, you can put a big fat asterisk on Proconsul Mesue being the oldest ape at approximately 23 million years of age, because there is a potential contender aiming to steal that spot in an ape, or I should say maybe ape, called Cameloepithecus, whose dating range is 24 to 27 million years. Now, Cameloepithecus is really poorly represented, so we aren't really 100% sure if it's an ape or not. It's mostly like dental samples, so we will see, and that's also pending more excavation.
Time. Time is critical because how you spend the hours of your days sum up to the years of your life. I'm a professor of happiness and I study time, which is kind of ironic because for my own personal happiness, time proved to be the single biggest barrier. I remember one day earlier in my career when I was an assistant professor at Wharton, I had traveled up to New York to give a talk, and that day, like so many, was just crazy. My presentation was sandwiched between back-to-back meetings from which I'm rushing to this colleague dinner and then frantically rushing to the train station to catch the very last train that would get me home to my 4-month-old and my husband asleep in Philly. Now, I did make the train that night, but I remember so vividly sinking into my seat, totally exhausted, and resting my forehead against the glass, watching the night lights whiz by. I was like, I don't know if I can keep up. Between the pressures of work, a good partner, a good friend, the never-ending pile of chores, there simply weren't
Not enough hours in the day, not enough days in the week. Good to see you, GSM. Thank you for coming by. In early recovery, we may be most interested in damage control, simply stopping the destruction and demoralization we have suffered through our habitual, unskillful responses to craving. We can begin by awareness of that craving, and learning to make different choices that don't trigger the craving. Sometimes awareness is enough. Sometimes that's all the effort we can muster. As we learn more skillful responses to our triggers, we gain space to have more compassion, loving kindness, generosity, and forgiveness. And as this practice becomes more of a habit, equanimity and peacefulness begin to replace our habits of grasping and selfishness. Pacing ourselves is important. Alternating periods of activity and rest. We need to be aware of what our mind, emotions, body, and recovery can handle right now, and avoid the stress that can come from pushing ourselves too far, too fast. We need to avoid those things that push us into unskillful mind states, and try to do things that return us to a more easeful way of being in the present moment. Try to remember that whatever you experience is right now. It will pass. Remind yourself that you don't really know how long an unpleasant or painful experience will last. Try to be open to recognizing and investigating the experience while it is present, without interpreting it as a permanent part of your experience. Recognizing that the craving, experience, or thought will pass makes it easier to avoid the impulse to make an immediate, unskillful response. Why is mindfulness? Mindfulness, being present to what's going on in our minds, bodies, hearts, and world, is central to the practice of the Eightfold Path. We learn to be present for the way things are with compassion, without judging them or ourselves. Mindfulness is being aware of whatever is present, noticing it, and letting it pass. It's also remembering that we're on a path leading to our freedom and long-lasting happiness. Mindfulness asks us to be aware and to investigate, without the reactivity and grasping for control that leads to suffering. We learn to stay attentive to what's happening without having to either react to or deny what's happening. For many of us, our addictions prevented us from being mindful. In fact, that was often the whole point. We used our substances and behaviors to avoid feeling, to avoid being aware, because being aware was painful. But by trying to avoid pain, we often created more suffering. We're now making a different choice, to sit with the discomfort rather than pushing it away or trying to numb it. We can learn to sit with the discomfort in different ways, either by bringing awareness to the physical sensations that affect our bodies, or in a more distant, non-attached way, such as naming the emotions, while allowing them to arise and cease. We are choosing to respond to it with mindful investigation and compassion, and to trust that it will pass if we let it. We're remembering that there's another way to respond to the difficulties of life. We're very into the Jackson wheat bed. We were just taking a little break from it for a moment. You've got something you want to bring in, Todd? You're welcome to bring it up.
that he just put up, isn't that supposed to interpret the evolution of humans from other great apes, which would imply that probably not all
I think
of
it goes
the
back even farther than that.
that not all of the species in that particular picture are
Let me
human.
see if I can.
It's the old march of progress.
Mhm.
Let me see if I can
thing.
find a picture that tells us all the ape species in it, because I want to know. I think.
I believe that.
I
I believe the one the most
Oh,
far
I
left
found
is
it.
a
Okay, so I
gibbon,
found it.
right?
Okay,
On the
so
most far
Oh,
left.
last
Okay,
one.
so I found it.
I just
Okay,
saw
so
the.
it's
my
Pliopithecus,
bad.
Proconsol, Dryopithecus, Oreopithecus.
For some reason, I saw your avatar and I thought it was Todd.
Australopithecus,
Sorry,
Australopithecus,
Halsey.
Australopithecus, Australopithecus,
So-
Paranthropus,
I didn't
Advanced
see the
Australopithecus, Homo
names.
erectus, early Homo sapiens,
My bad.
two erectus,
Neanderthals,
Cro-Magnon, and modern man. Okay, so given that, given the obviously most of the first one.
Does it stop now? I didn't know if you heard me. Okay. So. Okay, you did.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 5 are not hominins, but they are hominoids. Except I don't. Yeah. Okay. Is Pliopithecus a hominoid? Okay.
I think Pliopithecus is like a
No, that's-
stem. Grapheline, yeah. Stem grapheline.
It seems to be. Hold on. I'm trying to find out. Hold on. Let me run back. Blah 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 blah. Yosemite. Blah 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 blah. I think you're right. I think it's a stem catarrhine. Okay. Or is it Catarini? Hold on. Let's see.
So basically, these creationist dudes, they're like evolution false, ape men frauds, and then it's like Eric Hovenson and some other dudes. And so Jackson and Peter and this other guy are responding to this, and yeah, it's pretty early on in the video still.
Can I get a Yes, it is a stem catarrhine. Okay, so you're right, Nestle. Yeah. So Pliopithecus is a stem catarrhine. Proconsol is a stem hominoid. Dryopithecus is a stem. Is it stem? No. Sorry, it's a stem like African ape that we just mentioned.
Mhm.
I think Oreopithecus is in the same group.
Jackson.
Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
Alex Markel just put in the chat. Jackson, you're doing more thinking than this guy has done for the past 30 years. I think you might
That's
be right.
probably true.
You might be right.
Ramapithecus, that's a pungine, so that's in the orangutan group. Yeah. And then all the rest are within our hominins. Okay.
And many of these are still like transitional stem groups, but they're not specifically to the human line. They are
Correct.
also more basal as well. But my main problem with these images is that they don't show like they are put in a line, but they should have been put in a
Of course.
phylogeny. Yeah.
Right, of course. Now, will he make that argument? Probably not. And which is so
No.
funny because like that's an actual valid criticism of Zallinger's March of Progress, right?
Yeah.
Is that it
yes.
depicts evolution as anagenetic, which it isn't. It's cladogenetic.
Like it's also the same with the classical depiction of like horses within one single column. Like no, it's a bit more bushier than that. Like same principle.
Vowels are a lie. I like that. Yeah. So he just said it's not an ape man, which is odd, right? That's an odd way to frame Dryopithecus as it's not an ape man. Well, yeah, we know that. We know it's a stem African ape. Why would you? Why are you making that argument? That doesn't make any sense.
Can we go back to when the image is shown, perhaps? Or Peter, can you do that?
Can we go back like 20 seconds? Is that
Like,
possible?
maybe the document itself explains that Dryopithecus is like a more basal ape and not specifically a hominin. Or did we? I don't know. Did we used to think that Dryopithecus was a hominin? Maybe it's outdated. It's possible. I don't know about that. Maybe it's
I
outdated.
also don't
You
know.
want to
I
go
don't
back to
think
this?
I don't think it really matters all that much, really, at any rate, because like, oh, sorry, he didn't. He circled Oreopithecus, which is also a stem African ape. Which I mean, the point remains. It's the same thing we just said.
Like for what I can read in this, I don't see there's any claim about Dryopithecus being a hominin. Like it says it was one of the first of the great ape fossils that was discovered in Europe.
Yeah,
that's all it says right here. So
yeah, I think we are doing more thinking about this
Yeah.
than he has. Anyway, we can let it go.
Yeah, we need to move on. Yeah, we need to
You're,
move
you're
on.
definitely putting more effort in looking up the species on this chart on the fly than this dude has done in the 27 years of researching frauds. So Triceratops, Falzuzalai, yeah, you're absolutely correct.
So why is he like Xing them out? That doesn't make any sense. They're
Oh,
not fake. They're real.
No,
these
no, but
fossils
those aren't
exist.
human. Those aren't human. That's what I noticed. What he said, because he thinks that the one on the far left is already human, which I have no clue how he got there.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
He said most of the species in these pictures weren't humanoids.
They were not ape men. He says
They were not
Yeah,
ape
so-
men, yeah.
But it already says it like here, like in you can see like it's very vague, but you can if you look closely at Pliopithecus, it says one of the earliest proto apes.
Mhm.
Pliopithecus had to look like modern gibbons, basically. Although, yeah, and then Proconsul, known from numerous fragments adding like it's very vague. I can almost not read it. The ancestor of the chimpanzee and perhaps of the gorilla. Although I think that's outdated idea. I think Proconsul is like a very basal hominoid, right?
Yeah.
Like outside, even outside the gibbon group
Yes.
or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these don't claim that they are like hominins. They are not claiming, even though these things are very outdated.
Got 2:21 in the AM. Still waiting on news over here to find out if I'm going to stay or not. Hope your morning is going splendidly.
Outdated still, but they are not claiming that they are ape men or hominins at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for like here it says except for Ramapithecus on the like the one on the far right.
Well, it was thought to be a hominin for a little while. That was
Ramapithecus-
thought, yeah.
Yeah, Ramapithecus, the earliest man-like primate found so far. It says here on the Ramapithecus,
Which is also
But
a bad way to describe that, but whatever.
Yeah.
At the time, this was like what, the 60s, wasn't it? When did that come out?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
Like,
could be wrong.
if I were to like
Yeah, 65,
Maybe-
1965. Come on.
Yeah.
This is really the best we're gonna do. Is like we're really looking at a picture drawn, freaking what, like 60 years ago. That's really our primary concern. Okay, all right, whatever. We can continue.
His colleagues. All that's important too. You have to do the side interviews. We realized that there's only 14 animals in here, that 10 of the 14 animals that he put on here that we've all believed were not ape men. He knew, let me repeat that. He knew 10 of the animals were not ape men. Now,
Wait,
that's what
pause,
it's
pause.
define what I'm saying by ape
Okay, wait, actually, oh, never mind. Let it play. I want to hear what he says. Then we'll respond.
man. An ape man
Sorry.
is not an ape. It's not a human, Homo sapiens. It's an animal, theoretical animal on the line going from an ape to a human. The evolution
Okay,
scientists
pause.
would call them hominins, hominoids.
This is just so telling. Because, of course, when we look at the order, you can see that humans are apes. This is so important to understand. There's no point when we go from ape to human. It just doesn't happen. Oh, it's my move. Let's see. That's right. We'll go there. Very good. So it begins. So I've been playing with this guy for the last couple of months. He is a fucking beast. This guy's just kicking the shit out of me. I've gotta give him a run for his money this time. Our minds can get lost in how we react to experiences. When something happens, we almost immediately begin to create a story, plan, or fantasy about it. We have a thought about an experience. That thought leads to another, and on until we're far from a real understanding of the experience itself. Mindfulness is noticing the experience in that moment before we get lost in the judgment of the moment or the stories we spin about it. Rather than blindly following our reactions and responses to an experience, mindfulness allows us the space to choose to respond skillfully and from a place of wisdom and morality. Mindfulness encourages us to be open to and investigate the painful experiences and our habitual reactions to those experiences rather than to deny, ignore, suppress, or run from them. Most of us have been conditioned to be our own harshest critic from early on, especially during our fixations on substances and behaviors. We carry the shadow of that judgment with us, even as we seek recovery, giving ourselves negative feedback and scrutinizing every effort we make, holding ourselves to impossible standards of perfection. Letting go of that inner critic allows us to be mindful in the present of the efforts we are making, mindful of the compassion and loving kindness we're learning to make a part of our practice and our lives. Remember that we often talk way more harshly to ourselves than we ever would to somebody else. It's useful to notice when we're treating ourselves too harshly, and then shift attention to what we are doing well. We can acknowledge the negative thought, then gently let it go.
Okay, pause. Okay, so hominins. So it was right. He's referring. So he's saying anything that's not Homo sapiens, and I guess presumably anything that's closer to Homo sapiens than it is chimpanzees, which is hominins. Now, according to Zallinger's image, there are 15, not 14, primates. And of the 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess 8. Okay. So 8 of the 15. Well, I guess again, it kind of depends on how you define it. Because like one of these is Paranthropus, which is obviously not on our line. It's like a well, then I guess it also depends on if you crop out like early Homo sapiens. Yes, Solo Man on here, but
Like
this
the
is Homo erectus.
way Werner says, any non-Homo sapien hominin, basically.
If it's a non-Homo sapien hominin, that drops to like 1, 2, 3, 3. Okay. That's like 3. It's Australopithecus, Paranthropus, and then 4. Okay, and then Australopithecus, Paranthropus, advanced Australopithecus, and Homo erectus. It's 4.
Yeah.
So the other 11 are Pliopithecus, Proconsul, Dryopithecus, Oreopithecus, and Ramapithecus, which are all non-hominins. So they're non-hominins. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10.
But many of them are still transitional.
Well, right. I mean, so 10 of the 15 are hominins. So 5 are non-hominins, but still transitional. And then of the 10, 4 are non-Homo sapien hominins. Now he classifies 2 Homo erectus specimens as humans. Oh, well, sorry, I forgot. He also has Neanderthals on here, which I guess at the time were considered just humans, not their own separate species, because that was more like in the 90s, I think, when they were finally figured out to be a separate species. So, okay, so whatever. At any rate, 10 of them. 10 are hominins. So he's wrong when he says 10 of them are not hominins. He is factually incorrect when he says that. Like he's just wrong. Just so we all are clear on that. Okay.
Hominids, whatever, but it just ape man. You know what an ape man is. Clark Howell knew that animal 1, Pliopithecus, number 2, Proconsul, number 3, Dryopithecus, number 4, Oreopithecus, and Paranthropus were not ape men. They were
he
not
skipped
on the
Ramapithecus.
road to Homo sapien as his chart showed. And we have that
Wait,
clearly
pause.
documented in the book and the
Wait, pause. Okay, for one thing, he skipped Ramapithecus and jumped to Paranthropus. Paranthropus is a hominin. It's a descendant, or it's closely related to Australopithecus africanus. So basically, the Australopith tree kind of forks, and you have like.
Is the robust, robust ones?
So yeah, you have so basically the Australopith tree kind of forks, and you have the more gracile Australopiths like Australopithecus afarensis and Sediba, and then us, the Homo. And then on the other hand, you have the robust Australopiths like Australopithecus africanus, which then leads to Paranthropus. You know what an ape man is. How you didn't define it? That's true. He didn't. He kind of flipped. He flip-flopped. He said it's not an ape, but it's not Homo sapien. And then he said it's a hominin, and then he said it's a hominid, and then he said, you know what I mean. So he gave like 3 different, or 3 or 4 different definitions, kind of all in the same breath.
He's very vague. Like again, at first he says like, oh, it's neither an ape nor a man. It's like an intermediate between the ape to man line, and but the scientists call them hominins or hominoids, even though those are not interchangeable.
Yeah, no, I would love to talk to Werner here. Like, I would love to get him on the show and like just pick his brain about this stuff, because I don't think there's he knows
all you'll find is brain soup.
Yeah. Oh well.
Opening video series. He also knew, and I can't believe I missed this, he also knew that the last 5 animals here were Homo sapiens. This one, number 10, is called early Homo sapiens. Well,
Can you pause again?
Put more than one Homo sapiens in this.
Here, pause. So the last 5 are modern man, Cro-Magnon man, Neanderthal man, Rhodesian man, and Solo man. Well, and 6 is early Homo sapiens. Wait, hold on. 1, 2. No, it says 15 here. Can he not count? It says 15. Maybe he can't. Brain soup. I don't know.
Maybe it's counting from like the second image exclusively. Like, like from 9, 10, like from 9 on, I think. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Jackson, this
Yeah.
is his first 18 years of reading. We're going to get to his first 18 years of doing math later, I guess.
I guess so.
I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah. Which,
Hey,
because
Guts.
it says
Hey,
early
Gutsy Gibbon.
Homo sapiens. Oh, Gutsy Gibbon's in the chat. Nice.
Yes.
Well, we called her because we were talking about ape stuff, I guess. Hi, Jackson. I can't stay. I met this Warner guy's a joke and ordered his books. Yes. Yes, please do a full breakdown of it. I wait with bated breath to see your takedown of this guy. You'll do way better than I do. All right, anyway, let's keep going.
Chart, since it's the road to Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens. So right there, 10 frauds that he knew were wrong, but he put them in the chart anyway to make the case
Wait,
for
pause.
evolution. It was
Pause. Okay, wait. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. He said 10 frauds. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so Pliopithecus, Proconsul, Dryopithecus, Oreopithecus, Paranthropus. Okay, that's 5. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get. Wait. Okay. Then yeah, 1.
That was a checkmate. I just got my ass handed to me. Let's check it out. Oh, damn. Harsh. That's harsh. So early. All right.
Wallace, King, and Sanders point out in Biology, the Science of Life, that rarest thing, a readable college text, we are in much the same position today with mental processes such as thought and memory. We know that we have them, of course, but we don't know what, if any, physical form they take. So it was for the longest time with genes. The idea that you could pluck one from your body and take it away for study was as absurd to many of Morgan's peers as the idea that scientists today might capture a stray thought and examine it under a microscope. What was certainly true was that something associated with chromosomes was directing cell replication. Finally, in 1944, after 15 years of effort, a team at the Rockefeller Institute in Manhattan, led by a brilliant but diffident Canadian named Oswald Avery, succeeded with an exceedingly tricky experiment in which an innocuous strain of bacteria was made permanently infectious by crossing it with alien DNA, proving that DNA was far more than a passive molecule and almost certainly was the active agent in heredity.
Is he saying like the last five right before Modern Man? I guess that'd be one,
I think
two,
so.
3, 4, 5. Okay, I get it. So, and Neanderthal Man and Cro-Magnon Man, all of whom he is apparently classifying as just Homo sapien, and also calling them frauds. So his definition of fraud is just either not hominin or also Homo sapien. This is the most baffling definition of fraud I've ever heard, which I guess it's not really a definition, it's just
Feed your ADHD. Or don't. Sometimes you just gotta rewind the tape. (2:39 in the AM), April 18th, 2024. The clock keeps ticking. 2:40. Just checking out this this Jackson Wheat video, part of a series Jackson did, 8 Men Frauds. That was fascinating. I recommend you over there. If you haven't seen the channel, go take a look-see.
just providing examples. But this is truly insane.
Jackson, but
this is
you,
crazy.
you don't get it because he already said at the start he doesn't have time enough to explain the mechanism used to find these frauds, right? So we'll have to wait for that until the video comes out, I think. I don't know.
I guess. Yeah. What'd you say, Nestle?
Oh, I was just saying, like, so basically you're saying, like, every STEM human, everything but a STEM human is a fraud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, okay, so the thing about, what I also find very funny about this is Cro-Magnon, which is a goofy term that we talk about in the Cro-Magnon's Tale, which was like, what, the second video in our series?
It's not filet mignon or anything related to filet mignon.
Or sorry, no, it was the third video because it was the Tasmanian's Tale, then the Farmer's Tale, then the Cro-Magnon's Tale.
Yeah.
When we did the Cro-Magnon's Tale, we talked about the word Cro-Magnon doesn't really mean much of anything. It just means the Homo sapiens who left Africa around 50 to 60,000 years ago, and then up to the Neolithic Revolution, like 12,000 years ago, right? Like that interval from 50,000 years ago to 12,000 years ago is Cro-Magnon, which is nonsense. That's a nonsense term. So anyway, so yeah, that's a silly term. But also in that video, we talked about like what does behavioral modernity mean? Because Cro-Magnons hail the origin of behavioral modernity, and there's a big debate in anthropology as to what that means. It's all really neat stuff. We kind of cover some of it in the Cro-Magnon's Tale. Go watch that video.
Remember, so like 14 is Cro-Magnon, but 13, what is 13?
Neanderthal.
Neanderthal, all right.
So it says Neanderthal. Then the two before that are two misidentified Homo erectus. So it's Solo Man and Rhodesian Man. And then early Homo sapiens, which, remember, early Homo sapiens look different from anatomically modern Homo sapiens. That's why there's a difference in what they're called. They look different. We have a more graceful skeleton than early Homo sapiens had. They were more robust than us. So
it's early Homo sapiens is still like closer to us than the Neanderthals and the Denisovans, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because you're right, because Homo sapiens is everything closer to us following the split from Neanderthals and Denisovans.
Yeah, so it's surprised because the Neanderthals were also a bit more robust than us. So maybe it's like this early version is like, oh, it's like There's the line closer to like the Neanderthal line, basically, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Kyle Pratt. In 27 years, he never opened Wikipedia. Yeah. Exactly. He never looked at it. In the whole time he's been doing this, he never thought, Why don't I just do it? Truly astounding stuff. He spent, remember, according to him, he has spent 27 years on this. Baffling stuff.
Like when was his book published? Like
recently, I'm pretty sure, because like Eric is interviewing him like about this recent stuff. I'm pretty sure this is all recent material. Let me look up
from
Carl
what
Werner.
from what I got. This is a very recent thing. He's just come out with his books.
Yeah, this book just came out. Here it is. Evolution: The Grand Experiment. Amazon. It says, what's the date? When was it published? It was published.
Well, I think that title is from 7 years ago.
This one. Sorry, this one's from 2008. Is this the same book? No.
No.
This is volume 1. I need volume 5. I need volume 5. Where's volume 5? Because that's the one that just came out. Book volume 5. Grand Experiment, volume 1. Living Fossils. Books. Biography, latest update. The Grand Experiment. No, that's volume 1. Where the heck is volume 5? Am I crazy? Don't answer that. Erica, if you're still listening, can you tell us when the book came out? She's probably gone. Oh, wait. Here it is. Volume 5. I found it. At least I think I did. Nope, this is volume 2. That is not volume 5. You might also like ? I probably won't. It says volume 5 on the freaking picture.
I see on Amazon hardcover volume 5 February 2024. So it's just
It came out this year.
Yeah.
This
5,
freaking year. Okay. Oh, also, Savage Premarital Mitosis Cobra for $2 says I could do better in 27 minutes. Yeah, you probably could, almost certainly. So yeah, this book came out this year, and he did not do like any Google searching at all. Amazing stuff.
So as we mentioned, this image, we also have problems with this image. Like it's outdated. It's the linear depiction of these things is also a bit misleading. So we can even also criticize this image, but of course, none of these things are frauds in the sense that they were made up. Like these things are real fossils in of themselves.
Yeah, exactly. So none of these are frauds. He's claiming that fossils, which objectively exist, are frauds, not because they don't exist. He's not saying these fossils don't exist. He has arbitrarily decided that any non-hominins are frauds because reasons.
Too transitional.
Right, they're too transitional. And any Homo sapiens are not transitional enough. So anyway, okay, all right, we can keep going.
Terribly influential, and it was infamous, not famous. It was infamous now because it was really a lie. That's one example.
And that is still the chart being used today. I mean, they might have replaced the people, but they're still trying to present the same basic concept and allow that to happen. So this is based on actual fossil finds. And you're saying those fossils right there, we know from those fossils that those were just apes, just like modern day for some. Some were just human, just like
No, that's not what he said.
And so it's not,
Wait, pause.
it's the draw.
Pause. Okay, so no, he actually didn't say any of that at all. And wow, we really paused on a. This is certainly an image.
It looks straight out of a Harry Potter movie. He's casting a spell right there. All he needs is a wand.
Swish and flick.
Okay, but he did not say, he didn't say either that the non-hominins were just like modern apes. If you don't believe me, go find a modern Dryopithecus. Good luck, Eric. And he didn't say that the Homo sapiens presented, most of which weren't, or several of which weren't Homo sapiens anyways, are just like modern Homo sapiens. Because again, they aren't. There is no one alive today like a Neanderthal. No one. 0 people. There are 0 people alive today like early Homo sapiens, like non-anatomically modern Homo sapiens. There are 0 people alive there are 0 people alive today like the Cro-Magnons, right? Like that's not what he said. First, he didn't even say that. Oh, this is so frustrating. It's so stupid. Every part of this is so stupid. And he says he wasted almost 30 years of his life on this crap. Okay.
Oh, I said swish and flick, but that's the movement from Wingardium Leviosa. But I think he's doing
No.
Stupefy.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Yeah. but I think he's doing the spell stupefy because it's very stupefying what he does.
Yeah, I think I stupefied him. I think that's how this worked. In exactly the right moment too. If people want to take this and Photoshop, I don't know, something in his hands, go right ahead.
I have to point out, Brian Stevens called me out. He said, wait, isn't Marjorie Taylor Greene a Cro-Magnon? Sorry, you're right. My mistake. Although, do we really want to give her to them? They probably don't want her either. Let's be real. Okay. Anyway,
I think the vote's still out on what Marjorie Taylor Greene exactly is. I don't. He might not even be in the family of the great apes. We don't know.
The jet is now amazing. Fossilis disappearance. Excalibur. All right. I mean, we can move on. Sorry about that. We can move on.
That ended up being the evidence more than the fossil ended up being the evidence. Is that kind of
and
accurate?
that's correct. That's correctly stated. But it's worse than that, Eric. He knew it.
Wow.
See, the guy that made the chart, if you read his readings, and we got his quotes throughout this chapter here, he knew that Pleiopithecus was like a gibbon, a modern gibbon, and it wasn't ancestral humans. He wrote.
Pause. No, he can't be this stupid. He can't. There's no way he's this dumb. I refuse to believe he is this dumb. You are telling me that Carl Werner looked at this article, the original like Zallinger image, and saw that the paragraph that was describing Pleiopithecus said that it's gibbon-like, and he thinks nobody noticed this for 60 years? Are you serious?
Also, I think Pleiopithecus is a Catharine as well.
Right. That's Stimcatarine, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, he can't be that dumb. Please, he can't possibly. There's no way. I refuse to believe this.
Well, there's an explanation.
This has to be a gag.
He might not be that dumb, but he could very well be this dishonest.
That's the only other option, right?
That is the only other option. And by the way, for people who are wondering, the still right now is him looking at the still of Eric just previously.
Yeah, that's probably true. He's looking at it. He's stupefied. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like those are the only options. The options are either he genuinely thinks that nobody noticed this paragraph in one of the most famous images of evolution of all time, or he's just lying. Like he knows this. Those are the only options. There's nothing else.
He spent 27 years doing research on this. I'm going with dishonest. There's 7 years between volume 1 and volume 5. I'm still going with dishonest. 7? There's more, right? You said it was from 2008? I thought it was from 7 years ago. That might be the volume 4.
One was from 2008.
Not entirely sure.
Well, volume 1 was from 2008, and volume
Yeah.
5 is from 2024.
Oh,
Well, that's
okay.
16 years.
So that's 16 years between volume 1 and volume. Okay. Yeah. I'm still going with dishonest.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
very fair.
But he puts it in the chart anyway. He knew that proconsul looked like a chimp, was not an ancestor to humans.
Wait, no, that's
and he
also not
put it
true.
in the chart. See, that's the fraud, and that's
Wait,
a
pause.
very serious level of fraud.
Again, how stupid do you have to be to make this argument? How stupid? The chart is not about specifically hominins. It is about the line from, or is like a line from stem catarrhines. So that's the group that includes apes and old world monkeys, up to humans. So it starts outside of the hominins, works its way through the hominins to humans. That's the point of the chart, is you can go all the way back to outside the humans and draw this direct connection. Like, that's the point. That is the point of the chart. I just categorically refuse to believe that, like, he thinks no one thought of this until now. There's no way.
Also, proconsul wasn't a chimpanzee.
It wasn't.
Proconsul was also plantigrated still, like a monkey basically. It was still like it was tailless like an ape.
Yeah.
But the way it locomoted through the trees was like flat-footed, like a monkey basically.
Yet proconsul, we are more closely related to gibbons than we are to proconsul. That is how far away it is from us. It is outside. It is a stem hominoid. And again, he said he spent 27 years on this, and he can't even. Maybe it was just a Freudian slip. I don't know. But he said proconsul was chimpanzee-like. That's wrong. It's not chimpanzee-like, like at all. It was more similar in a lot of its characteristics to monkeys, not chimps.
As it's often described as a monkey-like ape.
Yeah.
Yeah, proconsul. Yeah.
Oh my god, he's so stupid. Or maybe not stupid. Maybe he's just really dishonest and he thinks no one's gonna check him.
Smitty says they are the hackfish of apes. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
He has to be making money off of his books, so I'm still going with dishonest. Oh, and
Chimps are monkeys. You are correct, Smitty.
for reference, Jackson, in 30 seconds, we'll be halfway through the video.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Oh. Continue?
Yes. I don't think we should dwell on here because I have so many more, Eric. I want
Yeah,
to go
don't
on to
dwell
some
on
more.
the.
Well, before you do, because this is
I wouldn't
fascinating to me.
either. I'd be embarrassed.
So this is all in a book. Anybody can get this book and look at all these frauds.
Yes.
Why is Eric
there's two
excited
books.
about this?
One book is called Evolution and Grand Experiment, Volume 3, Untold Stories of Human Evolution, and Volume 4, 9 Categories of Overturned Ape Men. You will get to see this. This is from one of those two books. So yeah, it's available. And I'd encourage everybody to read it. Anybody can read this. A high school kid, 8th grade could.
I don't know if you want high schoolers or 8th graders reading this.
Yeah,
They might realize you're an idiot.
In all fairness, I like the way the covers are designed. So that there is that. He had a good designer for
They
the
are
covers.
nice covers.
Yes,
That's true.
that's basically it. What was the saying? Don't judge your book.
27 years. By the
That's-
cover,
Yeah.
27 years. You're telling me in 27. This is like what I think. When he says 27 years researching, like, what does he mean? What papers could he possibly have read? Because he said, remember, he started out by saying he read all sorts of papers. He read papers in German, in French, all over the place. What I think he meant was he did not read technical literature. I mean, there's no way he could have read technical literature and said this much stupid crap. What he must have meant was he read like popular like news press articles in German and French, and he translated those and used those as his argument.
And then spent 27 years
That's what I
figuring
think.
out how can I make this sound wrong and believable. Because I think that's where he spent most of his time.
Yeah, this is garbage. Okay. Anyway, we can keep going.
Science.
And it's just about almost. Come on. It's coming. 3 o'clock in the morning. Take a little stretch, a little breather. Inhale through the nostrils. Exhale. Inhale slowly. Exhale. Sure we keep our equilibrium.
Science trained person can read. It's very simple language and only takes you about 2 hours. 2 hours to read because there's 1,000 photographs in each book. So
It only takes you 2 hours. It took him 27 years. Okay. I can believe that.
I'd be kind of embarrassed if I'd be a little embarrassed if someone read a book of mine in 2 hours. You know, unless it's like a book for children, I guess. I don't know.
That's my kind of book right there.
Exactly. It's my kind of book too. So I'd encourage you, if you're scared of this topic, don't be scared anymore. Just pick up this book because it's meant to help you understand what they did. And it's highly vetted. Many scientists have read this and they haven't found any errors in it yet. This is a vetted book.
Could he be like
It's been read
sued
by
for
other
defamation?
PhDs, and
By
it's
calling them
highly
frauds?
researched, and you are in for a surprise.
Okay. All right.
I am
I'm sitting there wanting
surprised,
to know
all right.
Why would he include these if they were fraud? We're gonna have to get the book and watch it. And your video series, I've watched 2 of your
We're gonna
8-part
have to
video
watch the
series.
book?
Unbelievable, by the way. You
Did you
got to
hear
check
that,
out the
Peter?
video series that accompanies these books. I'm gonna watch.
Did you hear him say we're gonna get the book and watch it?
Yeah. Yeah, because it has more
'Cause
pictures.
that's what he said.
Yes, because it has more pictures than text. Yeah, you could say you watched the book.
Or
It has more pictures than your average comic book.
or he may have cross-wired to thoughts. Like there are like a video series as well. So we may have like blended these ideas by accident. To watch the video series, or no, the book, or
I've been looking for the video.
fill that spot. In an ape, or I should say maybe ape, called Camelopardalis, whose dating range is 24 to 27 million years. Now, Camelopardalis is really poorly represented, so we aren't really 100% sure if it's an ape or not. It's mostly like dental samples, so we will see. And that's also pending more excavation of locations where Camelopardalis is found. It might be an ape, it might not, but what you need to know for now is that for sure, by 23 million years ago, we don't see tails in the hominoids. 23 million years ago, tails are gone. Bipedalism and hominins evolved 7 million years ago if you take Sahelanthropus chinesis as a potential habitual biped, and you can also put a huge asterisk on that. Our first for sure part-time biped would be Ardipithecus ramidus at 4.4 million years ago. So what I'm trying to say is tails disappear long before bipedalism evolves in hominins. So the idea that the loss of tails in ancestral hominoids was facilitated by a tendency towards bipedalism. Terrestrial bipedalism is typically what they mean when they say bipedalism. They're not talking about the type of bipedalism that you see in gibbons when they run across the branches without using their hands as anchor points, or the type of bipedalism that they propose for like Danuvius, a Miocene hominid. And then there's the other more obvious reason why that hypothesis doesn't really make a lot of sense, and that's that other hominoids who also lack tails are not bipeds, right? Chimpanzees aren't facultative bipeds, neither are gorillas, neither are orangutans. Gibbons are facultative bipeds when they come to the ground, but they do that so rarely that we mostly just consider them brachiators. And then, of course, on top of that, we have the first hominoids lacking tails not being bipeds either. So if it wasn't a pressure towards being more terrestrial, being more bipedal, or a combination of both, then what did cause the loss of tails in ancestral hominoids? Well, to figure that out, we should go ahead and take a closer look at the difference in postcrania between Aegyptopithecus, a monkey with a tail, and some of the first apes, Merodopithecus, Proconsul, and Akembo. First, let's consider some pretty big differences in the functional locomotor complexes of modern monkeys versus modern apes. And to make this extremely simple, I'm going to describe it like this. Most monkeys today, whether they are arboreal or terrestrial, have skeletons that are more inclined towards stability and agility, whereas most apes have skeletons that appear to be more adapted towards mobility and strength. Compared to your average monkey, and when I say monkey, I am, of course, referring to non-hominoid catarrhines, most monkeys are not very flexible. A baboon cannot raise its hand above its head like you can. Neither can a macaque. They cannot dangle directly below a branch and maneuver deliberately through the trees using each limb as a point of contact. Monkeys are fast. They zoom through the trees for the most part above the branch, and they do so quadrupedally, on all fours. The fastest ape in the trees is a gibbon, and they do so using brachiation, which relies on their highly mobile shoulders. Extremely flexible limbs in the arms and the legs are characteristic of all the apes, though, even if gibbons are the fastest. Orangutans, gorillas, chimpanzees, and humans, when we're in the trees, we are slower, more deliberate, but because we can use all four of our limbs as a point of contact and not just below our bodies, we can get to almost any part of the tree, and we can do so above or below the branch. This is something that most monkeys can't do. Notable exception in the atelids, but we will get to them later. So the generalized ape skeleton is inclined towards greater mobility and potentially allows more feeding opportunities opportunities. But limb flexibility is not the only part of this complex that matters. On your screen now, you can see an ape engage in below branch suspension. This ape is clearly very athletic. Her mobile scapulae and wrists allow her to hang below the branch, while powerful grip strength allows her to hold her entire body weight using just one limb. Multiple muscle groups allowed this ape to pivot from one limb to the other while still hanging, or hoist her body upwards. What an impressive creature. Akembo heslani, which is the oldest ape for which we have essentially the entire skeleton, has long been characterized as pretty monkey-like in its locomotor style. However, the word pretty there is doing some heavy lifting. Akembo heslani's skeleton, especially the postcrania, shows some remarkably derived characters. Akembo's humor
Woot, woot. How I feeling? Feeling strong? Was doing some push-ups earlier. Probably stand to do another set.
You watch the
Or-
book.
or
It has
maybe-
more pictures than your average comic book.
Or he may have cross-wired the two thoughts. Like there are like a video series as well. So we may have like blended these ideas by accident. It's like, oh, we were going to watch the video series. Oh no, the book. Or
I've been looking for the video series because
it's libel. Yeah.
I've been looking for the video series because that would be a good one to review here, but I can't find anything.
That would be good.
Probably behind a
they,
paywall.
like they exist. They exist on the internet as like random clips, but not like in a neat order or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
So random clips are now a video series. I'll make a note of
I
that.
can feel my heart rate going up.
It's probably if you don't do it, I don't recommend it. But if you buy the like the video or like I don't know how they are being sold right now, but probably in like a VHS, not VHS anymore, but
Now those are the illegal copies that Hovind the Greater,
Yeah.
the bigger, the
Right.
worrying.
Hovind
But-
will give them to you along with like cyanide pills, you know. Whatever.
Although
Cyanide
Eric
capsules.
Yeah.
still has the entire VHS copying material from his dad because he never gave that back. So we
Kyle
don't know.
says, I bet $5 his volume 5 has hyperlinks in it. Yeah, like the Standing for Truth book. Yes.
Mhm.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that would be so funny.
Mhm.
That would be so very funny. Okay, we keep going.
the other 6. They are so good. Okay, another fraud.
We've all heard of Homo habilis. Now, Homo habilis was supposed to be the creature between Australopithecus, 3 feet tall, 3.5 feet tall, and Homo erectus, 6 feet tall. So he's supposed to be about 4.5 feet tall.
Wait,
and he's supposed to have
what?
a brain between
Pause.
ape size, which is 500, and you.
Pause. First of all, not all Homo erectus are 6 feet tall. That was like one population. Like most Homo erectus were like around 4 or so feet tall, right? 4 to 5 feet. They were not all 6 feet tall. That's just wrong. That is just factually incorrect. Oh my god. How is he this stupid? How does he keep just lying? Homo erectus. Let's see. Let's look up sizes. Yes. Size ranged widely from 4 foot 9 inches to 6 foot 1 inch. And he's just like, oh, Homo erectus was 6 feet tall. Idiot. Absolute buffoonery. Why is he so stupid?
He is stupefied.
We can keep going.
Human size, 1,000, and it was about 700. This whole Homo habilis was complete sham and complete fraud.
Pause. Hold on. I got to see this. I'm not taking his word for anything. I'm not taking his word for anything. Cranial capacity, Homo erectus. Okay. All right. Okay. So Homo erectus, about 1,000. That's what he said. About 1,000 cc's. And then Australopithecus, cranial capacity, 420 to 550. And then Homo habilis, cranial capacity. Whoops. I misspelled that. My bad. Just under 600 cubic centimeters. Okay. So you have on the one hand, Australopithecus 420 to 550. Homo habilis 600. Homo erectus about 1,000. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. We're on board.
And I know those are strong words. Hang on to your seat if you believe in evolution, but I'm just going to show you the level of fraud here by Philip Tobias from the University of Witwatersrand in South Africa. His first fossil that he found was OH7.
Okay.
And this is his published photograph. Can you see that A and B?
I can, yes.
Yeah. That's his published photograph. That's the only thing that the other scientists saw, unless they happened to run over to Nairobi.
Here, pause.
Well, Debbie and I.
Pause. OH7 habilis. That's not OH7. I know, big shock, but that is not all of OH.
I don't know why it's so frustrating to me when they have like a producer who has control of the video and they have to hit pause. Pause it right now. Pause it right there. It's better than whatever ear. What the fuck's going on over here? Whatever's going on over here. Demons. Blaming the demons. Okay, looks like I figured itself out. Alright, I think I might be able to finish this video.
OH7. Peter, is it possible if I send you a picture? Can you put it up? Is that possible? That's not possible, is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is? Okay, cool. I'm going to send you a picture via Twitter. This is OH7. I'm going to put it in our Twitter chat. That's not the whole picture. That's not what I just saw. Hold on. Okay, here's the whole picture. Copy. Whoops. Let me go Twitter. All right, Peter, I just sent it to you via Twitter. Would you mind putting that up on the screen? So what you're looking at right now on screen, everybody, is what you just heard him say. Werner said is the only piece of OH7, which is habilis. He said this is the only piece. Now, what Peter has now just put on screen is the rest of OH7.
Did he say that was the only? Did he say that?
That is what it sounded like to me. I could be wrong, but I thought that's what he said. Peter, would you mind?
Can we replay a bit, maybe, to make sure? Yeah.
I thought that's what he said, but I could be wrong. I don't want to misrepresent him. If we could go back like 20 seconds and hear that again. Okay, yeah.
Tobias
right there.
from the University of Witwatersrand in South Africa. His first fossil that he found was OH7.
Okay.
And this is his published photograph. Can you see that A and B?
I can, yes.
Yeah, that's his published photograph. That's the only thing that the other scientists saw, unless they happened to run over to Nairobi.
That is the only thing the other
yeah.
scientists saw. Peter, can you put the other picture back on, please?
He's heavily implying this is the only thing that was found. Yeah, yeah.
So you can see the cranium back there. That's or the skull cap, whatever it is. You can see that in the back. That's what he's referring to.
Yeah, the parts A and B.
Skull cap.
The parts A and B are clearly in the back. You can't see those.
That's parts A and B back there. That is what he is claiming Tobias only found. Clearly
No, he didn't say that was the only thing he found. He said that was the only thing he shared.
Reported.
He shared because people had to go to Nairobi in order to see the rest of the things that he found, which are in this picture that we got without going to Nairobi.
This is such just. I don't even know what to say at this point. What is there to say? I mean, genuinely. How do you respond to this? Like, other than just here's actually the picture, he's just lying.
Basically, what he failed to do in 27 years, he did in less than 27 seconds.
Yeah, those look like finger and toe bones along with the partial jaw. Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know.
Yeah, it also says on there's even a Wikipedia article on OH7, and it mentions that you have a fragmented parts of the lower mandible, an isolated maxillary molar, and 2 parietal bones, and 21 finger, hand, and wrist bones. Yeah, 21 finger, hand, and wrist bones. Yeah, it's not a whole lot, but still pretty significant quantity. Like most, considering that most fossils are like isolated teeth. This is a lot still.
Yeah. Okay, we can keep going.
Well, Debbie and I decided to go photograph the original fossils. And when we
in
Nairobi. And when we photographed them, and I got back, I was like, what is going on here? This is the photograph that we took here. And this is a fossil. And there's something different. What's different? Now, by the way, this is a type specimen. This is a specimen, the first one they found. And that we're going to make all judgments about Homo habilis about this hereafter, based on this fossil. But if you look at letter B here, there is no letter B. There's no bone there. What happened to it? It was plaster.
I think that's rock matrix.
Plaster to the
Wait,
type
pause.
As you could clearly see, as you could clearly see in the picture, there are 2 parts, right? So
yes,
in the back, and you can see that the one on the picture is the one on the top right, and the one that he has It might be the one on the left. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, there's two of them. It's A and B. He's looking at
Yeah,
both
so
of them.
Yeah, but A and B on his picture are on one part. So if,
No, I think he's referring to both of the skull pieces. One of them is A and one of them is B. See if you go back to it,
Yeah, go back.
because see, one of them has the big chunk missing.
yeah, but he says the picture on the right, the colored picture, is the one that he took. The one on the
Yeah,
left
okay, so
is
yeah,
the
he's-
one that was published.
The original.
The original.
Yes. Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yes. Now it looks like the angle's different for one thing on these pictures.
Yeah.
It looks like they're not taken from the same angle,
Mhm.
which is what Bitcore is pointing out. When
It-
the fossil was found and
Hold
published
on.
at that time, the only thing you could see without going to South Africa was the published photo.
I'm
Maybe?
curious. I'm curious
Even
because
still, that's a really bad way of phrasing it.
no, because the original pictures has A and B on it. So if we go back
Oh, I
to
see what you're
your
saying. Okay,
picture,
I see what you're saying.
part B
Yes,
could be
it's
one
on-
of the parts that are lying underneath the bigger skull parts, because
Oh,
they're
I see what you're saying,
referring
I see what
to
you're saying.
a different part that has been
Sorry,
found.
I'm yes, I misunderstood what you're saying. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So it's one of the so it's the top one. Yeah, the top right one has the parts A and B on it. Yes, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yes.
My bad. My mistake, Peter. Yeah. So he's saying he took that and took the photos of it. Took photos of it today, compared it to the original, which is what he's saying is A and B, and he's saying B is missing. Now,
Yeah, if you don't take a
B,
picture
part
of B,
up there.
if you don't take a picture of part B, then it's probably missing in your picture.
So B is, I'm pretty sure, the rock matrix that the bone was in. I'm pretty sure. So the fact that
it
like
could be
the
because
rock
it-
matrix was removed
Because it looks
from the
different.
fossil is like,
It looks different. So it has a completely different structure. As you can see, the bone part is
well,
as
right, because they took the rock off.
yes.
Yeah, they removed more of the rock from the fossil, which was B, which is what part B is referring to. And because B was the rock and it's gone, the fossil's going to look different. Again, is he stupid?
If you
part
look
B
at the
is obviously not part of the bone.
no, if you look closely, it is complete. It's completely different material. It's got a completely different structure
Yeah.
than
Yeah,
all of
it's
the
very
other
it's very
bony
smooth,
parts.
Yeah.
It's a lot smoother.
Yeah, it is obviously not bone. Just like his brain. It's a lot smoother. Well, that's the thing, DM. It's not that a piece of the bone is missing, it's a piece of the original rock is missing. They've removed more of the rock to just have the bone. And Werner is saying it's fraud that they removed the rock from the original specimen. Like, okay, you got him, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but we're talking to people who also said that it was a fraud to reconstruct Lucy's hip, which was later confirmed by other hips that it was actually correct because they were altering it.
Yes. Right. Yeah, exactly.
I
Oh
mean,
my gosh, this is so bad.
continue.
Unfortunately, we
Yeah.
still got 20 minutes.
Now, that's unheard of. That you just don't do that unless you make it really clear a reason you'd have to do that. But that's just
It is unheard of, but not
And
for the
then
reasons you think.
We noticed on this is the left skull piece. He started to add what appears to be bones from other animals to his skull.
What?
You know, if you have a puzzle like here, you know, it's pretty clear that that piece fits there. But when you have a straight line on right here where these green arrows are, it's easy to put a straight line fossil next to a straight line fossil. Now you don't notice it over here because it's black and white.
It's
but when you
all
see the
one
color,
piece,
and then
you
flip it over
idiot.
here. This looks like two different animals, A and B. This is the same bone, just flipped over. Look at A. It's a different color, and it's connected with a straight line. And when it didn't fit, then he put a little plaster in there. I just want to
It's
scoot
the
over here and
same
show you. He
bone.
also altered the other side. This is his published photograph of the right skull piece. Here
Okay.
it is. You just don't really know what's going on. It looks a little funny. I don't really see a problem. But then when you come over here and take the photograph, the color photograph that either I guess I took this photograph, and then flip this over. Look on the inside of the right skull piece. A straight line, a funny colored bone, and you could actually say these here are the same situation. And if you go then looking at the small print, he says that maybe more than one animal was used to put the type specimen together, which again, that is a no-no. You cannot do it. Type specimen is a type specimen. You can't be interpreting it.
Wait,
That was
pause,
the first of
pause a second.
4.
Okay, so his central complaint here is 1, that straight lines exist,
Mhm.
and 2, that the bones are slightly different colors. This is like conspiracy level shenanigans. That's all this is. This is insane.
He is spinning a lot of yarn right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, your bones are not all the same color. There's going to be a little bit of variation in terms of your bone color. And then, of course, there's going to be variation in terms of the color when they're subject to like pressure and time and soil chemistry. Like, obviously. Straight lines and the bones are slightly different colors. Also saying hold on, I gotta check. Let me check. 087, Habilis. He said that maybe some of the bones were used from other animals. I don't.
Okay. Just another brief pause, allowing the seconds to pass. It's now 3:30 in the AM here on the beautiful West Coast. All right, let's continue.
See anything on the Wikipedia page that indicates that? So I don't. Maybe Tobias was saying it's possible that bones were incorporated from other animals, but it doesn't seem to be the case because they don't say anything about it here. I'm actually curious. Can we find the original paper in which he coins Habilis? Is this it? Is this the article? Can I get this article? Can I have that? Is that a thing I can have? Question mark. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, this isn't it. This is a book review. Dang. Wait, is it a book? It is a book. Oh, lame. No way. There's no way he did that. Hold on.
Oh, I think I found the original paper. What?
Did you? Okay.
I see a link on the Wikipedia page.
No, that's not it. That's the
a news piece. Oh, all right.
Maybe, I don't know. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever. I don't even care at this point.
Bitscore says it sounds like Werner was talking about skull fragments that bones from other animals were incorporated into the skull fragment to make up.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So just not
that the
other
skull
ones of the same
itself
species,
is made of multiple. Yes,
but from different
no, you're
species.
Right. That's a good point.
That's
yeah, that's
at
a good
least
point, Bitcoin.
that's how I interpreted that as well. But
Are you sick of having issues with your webinars, wasting tons of time on troubleshooting with attendees? If so, you need StreamYard On Air. Hey, it's Dana from StreamYard.
The oldest ape for which we have essentially the entire skeleton has long been characterized as pretty monkey-like in its locomotor style. However, the word pretty there is doing some heavy lifting. Akembo Hesselini's skeleton, especially the postcrania, shows some remarkably derived characters. Akembo's
That's where we left off. Just a moment to catch up. Good morning. Looks like I'm going to have to spend my last couple hours out here. That's alright. It's been slow and steady going, so I won't complain. We finish our passage before any more trucks come through. My practice is based on the 4 foundations of mindfulness. The first foundation, mindfulness of the body, asks us to bring awareness, attention, or focus on our breath and to bodily sensations. Meditations on the breath and body are focused on this awareness. The second foundation is mindfulness of feeling and feeling tones. This practice involves noticing the emotional tone, pleasure or displeasure, that comes with every sensation, even when the sensation is a thought. It also encourages us to notice when a sensation is neither pleasant nor unpleasant, but feels neutral. For example, we can experience inhales and exhales by noticing where in our body we feel the breath most directly. The second foundation instructs us to notice those sensations that are neutral, as well as those that are pleasant or unpleasant. The third foundation, mindfulness of the mind, asks us to notice when attachment, also known as greed or wanting, comes up, and to be aware that attachment arises in the mind. We also learn to notice when the mind is not attached to a particular thought or sensation. The same practice of noticing applies when we become aware of aversion, which we can experience as resistance or even hatred. When aversion isn't present in the mind, we can notice that the mind is free from aversion. In the fourth foundation of mindfulness, mindfulness of the Dhammas, we begin to simply notice when a thought arises, being aware of it without judgment or evaluation, and allowing it to pass away without holding on to it, and without creating a story out of it. Training in the fourth foundation lets us be aware of thoughts arising and passing away, and realizing each will pass when we let go.
Humerus, the bone of the upper arm, has a proximal portion, that is to say, the area closer to the trunk of the body, that for the most part looks more like monkeys, especially in the torsion or the degree in which it twists. The distal end, however, looks a lot more like apes, with an expanded trochlea and a rounded capitulum. At places like Rusinga, humeral heads have been found for genus Akembo. The humeral head is just the rounded proximal portion of the humerus, and this suggests that Akembo probably had extremely mobile shoulder joints. And what that means is that it was probably much more like apes than modern monkeys, and that it could probably hold its arms above its head. Like modern monkeys, Akembo had 6 lumbar vertebrae and an extremely narrow pelvis, which suggests the sort of deep, narrow chest and hips that you tend to see in modern monkeys, to the exclusion of modern apes, which have 4 to 5 lumbar vertebrae and more barrel-like chests. There are aspects of the lower limbs, however, that look much more like apes than monkeys in Akembo, and in Proconsul and Merodopithecus as well. This is specifically the angle of the femoral head, which suggests greater mobility at the leg than modern monkeys tend to have, and additionally, features of the patella suggest that this animal was using its legs for deliberate, powerful motions rather than the quick springiness that you tend to see in arboreal monkeys that are running on the tops of the branches. Many of the features found in Akembo are found in Merodopithecus as well. Merodopithecus actually had additional derived characteristics that align it even more with modern apes in its lower back, which was stiff and stable as compared to monkeys, and suggests, in addition to what we see in Merodopithecus's femur, that what it was doing was a lot of vertical climbing. Modern apes do not climb like modern monkeys, due in part to their much larger size, but this holds true even for gibbons. There's obviously a lot of biomechanical minutiae going on in the differences between the way that apes vertically climb and the way that monkeys vertically climb. But to simplify it, apes are slower but stronger, and monkeys are faster but weaker. It's no surprise that early morphologic changes that facilitate vertical climbing and greater grip strength, which are both precursors for the final ape condition, show up around the same time as tail loss. I think that grip strength probably came first. I think you had like a lineage of Aegyptopithecus-like things that had tails that, through natural variation, acquired stronger grips. Now, here's the thing about tails. The primary purpose of tails in these above branch arboreal quadrupeds like baboons and macaques is they allow the animal to balance itself, particularly when they're jumping. They can like right their position in the air. Increased grip strength allows an animal to feed just a little bit more terminally on the branches, and when in combination with slightly more mobile limbs, allow you to feed more terminally still. Feeding at the terminal ends of branches is not something that you do quickly or recklessly, which means you're already favoring mobility and slow movement over that quick springiness that you tended to see in the monkeys. In a few words, you're trading speed, agility, and stability for more food by being slow and mobile. Given what we know about the purpose of a tail, what do you need a tail for at this point? Now you might be thinking, oh, Gutsit Gibbon, grip strength and vertical climbing facilitating tail loss, that sounds a little bit just so. And to that I say, it would sound that way if it hadn't had happened twice just in primates. You see, in primates, there exists another interesting dyad of tailed above branch quadrupeds and tailless slow clamberers, and that is the comparison of two lorisoids. On the tailed above branch quadrupedal side of things, you have bush babies, and on the tailless slow clamberers, you have the lorises.
Good morning, Silverwolf. Good to see you. .42 in the AM. Just a couple hours left over here. Finish Jackson Wheat's video up. May get back to this one, we'll see. If not, definitely recommend this video from Gutsit Gibbon. It's a little older, but obviously always educational over there. Much love, everybody.
like Werner was talking about skull fragments, that bones from other animals were incorporated into the skull fragment to make up.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So just not
not that the
other
skull
ones of the same
itself
species,
is made of multiple. Yes,
but from different
no, you're
species.
right. That's a good point.
That's
yeah, that's a
at
good
least
point. Bitcoins,
that's
I didn't.
that's how I interpreted that as well. By the way, because he was complaining.
I didn't think about it that way.
He was complaining that this is a specific skull, and you can't then put other animal parts on it because then it's not type specific anymore. That was what he said.
But okay. Wait.
So
So if I'm understanding correctly, so he misunderstood what Tobias said. So Tobias was saying that, like, if I'm understanding correctly, when he uncovered these bones, these parts of OH7, they were like associated with other animal bones. Is that what you're saying?
No, he said they were using other animal bones to make up the skull,
I understand that.
which is why we have these straight lines, and he would just take any other animal part that he had with
Peter,
a straight line.
No, I get what he's saying. I understand he's saying that. I'm saying I thought Bitcourse was saying. Is Bitcourse saying okay?
Saying the same thing. I think it's saying the same thing.
Do we think Tobias maybe meant in the original paper that
Jamie E found the original paper?
Oh, okay, cool. Did you found it? Let's see. Is that in here anywhere? Because I'm trying to understand what he means by that, because I'm very confused. The recent a new species. Okay.
Yes. That's the same paper I just found as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's what you found. Okay.
A new species of the genus Homo from. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to. Australopithecine. Blah blah blah. Oh man, this is. I don't think I could read all this. Implications, maybe. Yeah, there's too much for me to read. Just kind of on the fly here.
I think we can give Gotzik given the opportunity to dive deep into this.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway,
but I don't see any indication that any so like he's just saying like, oh, they are different colors, so they must be from different animals.
Basically,
like
that's what Werner's saying. Yeah,
like that's not enough to make a case. Like far from enough. Yeah.
Can I actually? I want to see if I'm able. We only have 10 minutes left. I kind of want to see if this is what, if there's any evidence of that in the paper itself. I kind of want to see. Blah 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 blah. Okay, do that. Close that. Pause. Close that. Where's the? Oh, here it is. Okay. Open that up. Go to the paper. Can I search it? No, I sure can't. Sad. Oh, wait, yeah, I can. With the last few minutes of this, I want to see what he's referring to. I want to know if we can find anything on it. Because I'm curious. I want to know if we can find anything about this, like, mixed up with other animal stuff.
If you have a link,
that'll be the last claim we'll debunk.
Jackson, if you have a link, put it in the
Jamie,
private chat
put it
here.
in the live chat.
So that's
Jamie E put it in the live chat.
Yeah, I have that one.
Okay. Let's see. The revised diagnosis of no, that wouldn't be it. This is broaden the basis. We'll divide geological sequence. That more and more discoveries are made become necessary. Comes to the conclusion that genus Homo and not Australopithecine clearly distinct. From first recognized species of genus, you have to include new material. Blah 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 blah. Genus blah 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 blah. Homo habilis. Yep, for handy. Yep. If anyone can find it does list paratypes. Maybe he thinks that the type specimen description of paratypes. An adolescent represented by a nearly complete mandible with complete fully erupted lower dentition, a right maxillary fragment, including palate and all teeth. Premolars, molars. Latter in the process of erupting, corresponding parts of the parietal, temporosphenoid, I'm trying to read as quickly as I can to get through this, and I am not seeing anything. I don't know where he's referring to. An unworn lower premolar. Nestling, are you seeing anything in here about it?
Excuse me, I was just having a good cough. No, Sandy, we're just finishing up this video from Jackson Wheat, part of a series called Ape Men Frauds. So this one was reviewing this guy, Carl Werner, with Eric Hovind. So just checking that out, some guts at Gibbon. Passing the time over here, so nice to see you. Good morning.
No, I'm also trying to read it, but yeah, it's way too much to read everything in a few minutes. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about different pieces of animal fragments or something like that.
Yeah, I don't see anything here in the paper that says there are multiple different animal fragments in it together. So I think he's just making it up or misremembering, possibly.
It does say that they found an adult and a juvenile of the same specimen.
No, I saw that part. Yeah, I saw that, but like
That
that's
was
not
already
No.
2.5. My bad.
Maybe he meant different specimens together, but that would be a huge stretch from what he actually said.
He may have meant that, but he made it sound like it was a completely different animal. At least he did to me, and he did to at least one person in chat.
Yeah. The subsequent association with the. Yeah, I think maybe he just meant specimens. He meant there were multiple specimens, because I don't see anything here of. I don't see anything here about there being mixed mixed specimen, mixed animal species together. So he's just pulling from somewhere, and we don't really know where. So,
Yeah, I'm not entirely
okay.
sure, but didn't he say he got that from his book or from an interview? Or was he talking about something else when he said that? I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know. I missed it.
Like I think I remember him saying like, "Oh, I talked to Tobias, and he told me that it was that he was having many different fragments of animals or something." Like maybe we can again. Can you repeat the last 20 seconds of this to make sure?
I should be able to do that. Let's see. We may last 20 seconds. So that's
yeah.
I think about here.
Also alter the other side. This is his published photograph of the right skull piece. It is. You just don't really know what's going on. It looks a little funny. I don't really see a problem. But then when you come over here and take the photograph, the color photograph that either I guess I took this photograph, and then flip this over to look on the inside of the right skull piece, a straight line, a funny colored bone, and you can actually say these here are the same situation. And if you go then looking at the small print, he says that maybe more than one animal was used to put the type specimen together, which again, that is a no-no. You cannot do it. Type specimen is a type specimen. You can't be interpreting it.
Okay, so he doesn't actually say that anywhere.
He's mentioning a small. He's mentioning a small print. Like, what small print is he talking about?
Yeah, because there's nothing in this article about the type specimen having multiple individuals.
No.
Type the mandible.
It does mention other hominids, like other specimens, but they are not part of H07.
Well, here it says type the mandible with dentition and the associated upper molar, parietals, and hand bones of a single juvenile individual.
Yeah. Olduvai hominid 7, OH7. Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing. The only thing that I could find is
499 says Werner. Hold on. Werner thinks part was added to the original, not that part was removed. He thinks his picture shows a now larger bone, not less bone, I'm pretty sure. Maybe? Anyway, I don't know. What were you saying, Peter?
The only time when he talks about multiple specimen is just that they had one adult and one juvenile, both of the same species. At least that's what they thought at the time, that they were both of the same species. It says nowhere that the bones of these species were mixed or used to make up that bones from one of them, so bones from the juvenile, were used to make up the skull of the adult, or vice versa. It says that nowhere. And that's the only mention of two individuals that I could find.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, that's all I could see too. So there's literally no evidence from the original paper that multiple individuals were used, or multiple like animal species. There's no evidence that multiple animal species were used for this. There's no evidence for it.
It's catalogs like the OH7 refers to Olduvai hominid 7. Which is mentioned in this paper.
Mm-hmm.
It also mentions OH13 and OH6, but these are different specimens. They're not the same type, basically.
Right.
So maybe that's where he gets this idea from, that there were multiple individuals.
Well,
he's too vague. He's still too vague to be sure. Yeah.
There is a part where it says, in preparing our diagnosis of Homo habilis, we have not overlooked the fact that there are several other African and perhaps Asian fossil hominids whose status may now require a re-examination in the light of the new discoveries of the setting up of this new species. That's where they at least mention the species. There's
bananas, absolutely bananas. Okay, all right, we can go back to the other three screens. I'm sorry.
I had to turn on the light first because remember last time when I was sitting in the dark, my remote had to turn on the light first.
Yeah, this is okay. So this is just truly baffling. Again, he said he worked on this for 27 years, but he's like getting basic facts wrong about fossil hominins and fossil apes. He's saying stuff that's just kind of insane. Like there are no why is there a straight line? Why is it different colors? Also him saying that there were multiple species together when that's not what the paper says.
He's in the US and he doesn't believe in straight lines, so states must not exist, right? Because there are states that have these specific borders, and then you have states that are completely straight.
Hey, Peter, if there are no states, there can be no states' rights. I rest my case.
You can't have United States.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the Jackson Wheat video, along with some gut sick Gibbon. Squeezed in there, a little education, a little food for your brains. Yeah, it's now approaching 4 a.m. Just a few seconds here. And probably call it good. Leave it at that. Wish you all a lovely day ahead. Hopefully it is positive, peaceful, and productive for you. I may be back later. I don't have my regular group tonight, so yeah, I'll probably be looking for something to do this evening before I go in and do what I do. All right, much love. Be well. Be trusty.
But look, we're dealing with a lot of weird people on the internet here.